Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that like button as you come in. Hit that like button as you come in. All right, all right, all right. Happy Monday evening. It is the beginning of the week, and we are back at the Real Precious. Thank you guys so much for being here. We have a star-studded panel this evening. We have one more joining us. But good evening, guys. Thank you so much for being here. How are you guys doing?
What's going on? Appreciate it. Thanks for
All is
Doing
well.
well, doing well.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Yes, yes. Well, before we get started, just wanted to let you guys know that tonight is sponsored by jecreativehosting.com. You guys are looking to start your own website. Definitely go over there, get that special code of HCM22 for a special discount on your website. My website is hosted and sponsored by them, so definitely check them out. Again, that code is HCM22 to get your discount today. And we're still in this wedding vow series. The first week we did to have and to hold. The second week we did for better or for worse. And today we are doing for richer, for poorer. You guys, I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Tarika, thank you so much for being the best mod in YouTube land. Sean, I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. The beautiful Miss, she said, I see you. She said, let's go. Quincy, I see you in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. You guys definitely share this live. Hit that like button on the outside of the live chat. That's where you see the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. It's free to be here. All you got to do is hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So, again, we are talking about for richer, for poorer. And that's usually a phrase that's used in wedding vows or marriage ceremonies. Is excuse me, signifies a commitment to stay together and support each other regardless of financial circumstances. It means that a couple will remain dedicated to their relationship and face both the prosperous and challenging times together. Now, if you weren't here last week, I played this clip of Sarah Jakes, who is TD Jakes' wife. I'm gonna play it. I always, talk about how she's very meek and mild. She doesn't really raise her voice. She does speak. She does do, conferences and things like that. But this is the one time that I've seen her speak very strongly on a subject.
So saddened by the disassembling of families and marriages because we take 30 minutes to say the most important words that you'll ever say in a commitment, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, forsaking all others, richer for poor. Then this new generation came along and we want to make our own vows. You know why? Because it's easy to break. It's easy to say, when I saw you walking across the water in the middle of the night, shut up. Better or worse? Sickness, health, richer, poor, forsaking all others, I'ma cling to him.
Okay. So I wanted to play that again because I think that's a powerful clip again with Sarah Jakes. She is TD Jakes' wife. Everybody know TD Jakes, the preacher who has been on the scene for a very long time. He has a house, he's pretty much a household name at this point. And so I have some clips tonight that we're going to be referring to in this Wedding Vow series for Richer for Poor, tonight's episode. But this clip, I know a lot of times on the internet, you see these wedding vows being said, right? And this particular vow for richer for poor, more times than not, let's say all times, usually when you see this clip, you will see a woman say, you'll hear the preacher, the or the wedding officiant, say the vows and they have to repeat them. And when we get to this richer or for poorer vow, we get this.
To have and to hold
From this day forward.
from this day forward,
For better, for worse.
for better, for worse,
For richer, for poorer.
for richer, for richer,
For
and richer, and richer.
I like your zeal. I like your zeal.
So you have the wedding officiant. I don't know if she's a pastor or not. I'm gonna call her the wedding officiant. You have a wedding officiant saying, "I like your zeal." Right. I've also saw other pastors or wedding officiants who have said, for richer or for poor. That's what we talked about. That's what we went over. And you still have women who will not say that vow, that traditional wedding vow. Why do you guys think that's so? Why do you think it's so hard for a woman to repeat for richer, for poor? We'll start with you, actual King Smith. And good evening. I'm sorry, before we start, good evening, Hank. Thank you so much for being here. How are you? He probably whipping it up in the kitchen, y'all. Y'all know he be eating before the show. He be getting his nutrients. But King, we're gonna start with you. We'll get with Hank.
All right. So I've been thinking about this and I was trying to decide if I wanted to play the role of the heel for today's show. I believe that the vow part where it says for richer or for poor is a bit outdated. I think
Mm,
that it's an outdated concept that doesn't reflect the realities of what a modern relationship requires.
mhm,
Looking at today's world, I think that with how both partners almost kind of need to work outside of the home and contribute financially to the success of the household finances, unless one of y'all is working and balling and that's what works for y'all. um I don't think that it makes sense for one partner to solely be responsible for the financial well-being of the entire relationship. And if you make that vow for richer or for poor, um, and it doesn't work out, are you really supposed to stick through it? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that perspective. Mr. He said, how about for you? Why do you think women don't want to say for richer or for poorer? They just want to stick with rich.
Um, because we as a society think of marriage in this rocket ship sort of scenario, especially now in 2023 where relationships are primarily transactional. They don't think that it's a roller coaster. It has ups and downs, that come along with it. They think it's a rocket ship. It only goes up. And, it's okay for that to be the mindset of the family, but for it to be articulated at the ceremony in front of so many people, our loved ones, so on and so forth, it's a little insensitive because again, no man wants to be stagnated in one position. No man plans to be stagnated in one position. So, I think it comes with the territory when you're dealing with an honorable, admirable husband and potential, mate. And for someone to think that only good is going to happen in our relationship, only adding on is going to happen. There's not going to be any realistic downsides or realistic subtractions from our overall goal and our overall pot as a married couple. So for me, I think it's just the unrealistic expectations of this, fantasy marriage that a lot of people think about only the marriage. They don't think about Tuesday and Wednesday. So I think when you get a little more meticulous in your thinking and a little more realistic, I think it starts to be a little more surreal that, marriage is a roller coaster. It's ups and downs. And, I'm one of those people that does pay all of the bills in my house, but it wasn't always like that. We started out broke. The missus worked, an 8-hour shift, and it's that seeing the willingness, her rubbing me on my back, knowing that it's gonna be get better. That when I got that offer letter and I brung it to her, it was like, you see what I mean? Like you were gonna get there. It took some work, it took some failing, but we got there, and now we are in a fortunate position that we can operate the way we operate. But it was not always like that. It was absolutely a roller coaster ride, and she let me know from day one that she was willing to ride on that roller coaster ups and downs because she saw the potential in me, and luckily it paid off. Sorry for being so long-winded, fellas.
You are good. I'm always team mystery. He said, she said. They just work like a team, like a well-oiled machine. Okay. Thank you so much for that perspective. I really appreciate it. James, how about for you? Why do you think it's so difficult for women to say that vow for richer for poorer?
No, I love that story. First off, man, that was a powerful story, man. Appreciate that, man. That's dope. But I think honestly, I think it comes from the lack of our community being able to build, right? So we've been stuck in a survival mode for so long that a lot of people are like, hey, once I get with somebody, I don't want to, what I mean, go through the dirt. Just like he said, his wife and him, they was going through the dirt together, right? And the sad thing about that is that their relationship is stronger than any other relationship because they was there shooting in the gym with it together, so we all men, we always, no matter what, right? She can do him the dirtiest, not saying she will, but he'll still, have that love and remembrance of what she did for him, right? So, and I think for us to change and to go into the step the right direction, we have to fix those issues rather than, hey, I've been struggling all my life. No, you've been struggling all your life. Let's get together. Both of us been struggling. Now let's go somewhere. All right, cool. You're gonna be in school. I'm gonna be working, busting my ass. Then boom, once you get done with school, let me switch. All right, cool. Let me get my stuff out. Now I bet you're gonna be 10 times more likely to be more successful than a person just say, hey, I'm gonna be all better on my own.
I definitely agree with that. All righty. Our pain. Why do you think it's so hard for women to say for richer for poorer?
Well, it's funny. I'm glad you want to play the heel actual king. That's pretty good. One, the vows are not outdated. What it is that men have allowed women to acquiesce to their lower demons. I
Mm,
think that a woman, if she can't say the vows, she shouldn't be married. And men just haven't been willing to pull out of the proposal. Especially if you go into counseling. If a woman's honest and she's telling you that she ain't gonna go through nothing with you, I wouldn't marry her.
Mm.
And the reason why a lot of our marriages go south is because we marry women that don't deserve the honor of being your wife.
Mm.
And that's one of the problems. And the other thing you said, King, that I think men need to be careful with, and this is nothing to knock on you, but you wanted to be the heel. My wife is not allowed to ever call me her partner. I'm her husband. We ain't in a partnership. I'm her husband. If she wanted to be my girlfriend or my business partner, then we can de-elevate to that. But I don't consider her my partner. She's my husband, helpmate. So, I'm her husband. So here's the thing, though. The other thing I realized that when in a marriage, women are with you. Most women are with their husbands under certain conditions. And that's not necessarily mean that it's all bad. A lot of women, good women, will give you grace to get back on your feet, but I don't think it's forever.
Mm.
I never thought it was forever. And the thing in my marriage is I never had to challenge that theory. God has blessed me to be able to take care of my family until, to this day. We haven't had that kind of pressure. I'm glad I didn't have to take that theory. But for men, we can say the vows because when we marry somebody, that's what we're signing up to do, to take care of a family for a lifetime.
Mm.
Well, with women, we don't really expect them to carry us, not in a properly organized marriage, but sometimes they can, and you wish they would. But I'm glad we didn't have to test that. I believe my wife was sick. So, we have other stories that I know she wouldn't go nowhere because what she's done for me is crazy. But finances hasn't been one of them. And it's not like I'm rich or anything. I just been blessed enough to carry us thus far and hopefully further. So, I don't give a woman a pass at the vows, but I've always thought that a woman's marriage to you has been somewhat conditional because whether it's true or not, but I don't think they're built to take care of men. Maybe for a period of time, but not forever. And I don't think they deserve to be, I wouldn't want to put a woman under that kind of pressure. But that's just my personal, maybe that makes me a heel on that because you want to think your woman is ride or die to the end. But I'm glad I never had to test that theory with my wife. Because part of a woman's, if I had one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 for a woman for a man, I don't think it's love. Provision is one of them. For a man, it's respect, loyalty, exclusivity, then love somewhere in there, and children. But for women, provision is pretty high on the scale.
We're actually going to get into that the next clip. So
Yeah.
I'm glad
So
you said
anyway,
that.
so let me just land it there, and but I just hope you get what I'm saying because I don't want to disparage my wife or anybody else's wife for that matter. But it's a pressure, a situation. I'm glad my wife didn't never have to get tested, and hopefully she won't have to till we ride off into the sunset. But that's it. All right, I'm gonna land it there.
Our
Thanks,
pain,
Arpane.
don't go anywhere. What's a properly organized marriage? And sorry if this is off topic. We're
When I said
No.
properly,
curious.
Go
but
ahead.
no, I answer that. For me, and maybe I said it wrong. To me, is when both parties actually believe in all the vows.
Mhm.
If a woman can't say the vows, or a man for that matter, you shouldn't get married, especially if there was counseling. And it's just 2 things. And I always blame this on the men because I believe marriage is our sacred gate. We're the gatekeepers. If a woman can't say the vows, she doesn't deserve to be your wife. And a pastor, especially if you have counseling, should tell both of you guys you can't get married in my church or facility because you can't
Okay.
even recite the vows. If you
Mm.
can't do that, why is there a wedding? So that's just my theory on that. So that's what, when I properly organized, do you believe in the vows, and are you willing to recite them? And I would really be mad if my wife got up there and even made a joke of the vows in
Right.
front of those people.
It amazes me how everyone laughs at that part, and the pastors or the officiants, they laugh at that part instead of reinforcing that serious moment, like Sarah Jakes was saying. You take a half hour to say the most, important things that you're going to say in your union, and you use, one of those wedding vows as, a joke. And I think that is crazy. Hank, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. You saw the video, right? Of the woman saying for richer, for richer. You want me to play it again? It's a short video. Oh, you're on
If you
mute, Ro.
can, yeah, if you
Okay.
can, that would be great.
Okay.
To hold
To have and to
from
hold
this day forward.
from this day forward,
For better, for worse.
for better, for worse,
For richer, for poorer.
for richer, for richer,
For
and richer, and richer.
I like your zeal. I like your zeal.
Hey, yeah. Good luck with that, man. I mean, you sound like you made a bad decision. I wouldn't joke like that, especially if that's your religion and if that's what you're about. I wouldn't joke like that. I would take that very seriously. But I'm sure this wasn't the first time he got the hints. He just didn't. He just chose to ignore the red flags because she seems like she's a nice looking woman, well built woman, and I'm sure she's nice in certain ways. She is, whether it's in the bedroom or maybe in the kitchen. I don't know, but I think he looked past what's between the ears. And so now he's probably going to have to suffer if things ever get hard, where he's challenged, or he may get laid off, or get fired from a job. Lord forbid that. Hope it never happens to that brother, but things like that happen. And how's she going to handle that?
Mhm.
How is she going to accept it? Is she going to still be willing to stick it out? Or is she going to say irreconcilable differences is the reason why I'm filing for these paperwork to get a divorce? I don't know. But unfortunately, you're going to have situations like that. And right there, that's an example of a lady who looks like who's willing to make that move.
So before we get into the next clip, I wanted to ask you guys, and it kind of goes back to King's his perspective. My question is, why do men want to go 50-50? Let's not even talk about the economy. Let's not talk about inflation. Why would men want to go 50-50? We'll start with you, James.
In today's time, I think since a lot of guys are not really seeing like the family dynamics, like, so I was blessed to kind of see like at my stepdad and my mom in the household, and I seen my stepdad holding it down and doing different things. My mom was actually working too as well, but they had a great team effort, right? So they was investing in houses and all that type of stuff. And I'm seeing this at a young age and different things. We living in the hood, but they still, saying we out there working on houses and stuff like that. Hey, this is gonna be for your future. They basically giving us a dream, giving us a plans, and showing us kind of like that family dynamic. And that was like a blessing for me. So that was one of the major things that I seen. And then so when I got married, I was like, hey, I can hold it down and do what I need to do. But whatever you bring is gonna be extra so we can build, right? So and I always I'm cheap, right? So I'm the type of person that we're gonna be on the budget. We're gonna, because we need to be putting stuff to the future so our kids can have something, right? So I always been telling my wife, like, hey, your money is gonna go towards this so we can have something for the future. So we won't have to work so hard and so long rather than trying to be all flashy and do all that type of stuff. So it's just basically like we're not giving each other a plan, and then when if a guy does have a plan, rather than trying to see how it goes, it's too much fighting going on. Oh well, your plan not going to work. Oh, you the man, you supposed to be doing this and blah blah blah. Rather than you just doing your job, he doing his job, and let the chips fall where they may. So that's what's going on.
Okay. Mr. He said, why would a man want to go 50-50?
Because men are logical thinkers. And if anybody ever went into a store and they seen a half off rack Even if you didn't buy anything, you went over there and you looked
Mhm.
because it's 50% off. And that's what marriage is. Marriage is 50% off in life. You have a partner to balance it off, to balance it out, and to pay half the fare. That's why it's called a significant other. Sign if I can't. That's what
Mm.
significant is.
Say it again.
If
Say it
I
one more
can't get the
time.
car, sign if I can't.
Mm.
Significant. If I can't get the car, your credit is good enough. You're significant. Again, they use it for nefarious reasons. That's why I said, relationships are completely transactional now. And again, when you have, a woman that's voluptuous, that has the big boobs and the big booty, she doesn't want to be shortchanged for it. She feels she has to get something for it. And not only do they feel they have to get something, they have to get something of greater value. And again, this goes back to the transactional. If they feel they getting baited or switched, they feel they getting lesser value, they feel they getting equal, I'm done. I'm out. If
Mhm.
it looked like it might turn that way in the future, I'm out. I'm done. If my friend tell me it happened to her, I'm out.
Mm.
I'm done.
Mhm.
And this is how they operate. But I completely understand, anybody wanting to go 50-50, because 50 means half off for me. If you got $5, somebody asks you for 250, we all know the end of that story. So, it's logical. But again, us as men, we feel a certain way when our lady is bringing home the bread, when our lady is fitting the bill. It, that's why you get the discontent and the relationship back and forth, because it's out of the hierarchy, it's out of the natural order of things. And some men are going to be able to acquiesce, some men are going to be able to interchange those roles. Again, like I told you, I was happy that she was able and willing to go out and make that bread, because I know my time was coming. I just had to. But again, I have a different mindset than everybody else, and I'll say it in a minute, and loudly and unapologetically. And I know it was gonna get better. So again, just her rubbing me on my back saying everything's gonna be okay. That's why I don't mind going to work every day, waking up at 5 in the morning. This woman deserves it. And I know every woman don't deserve it. And again,
Mhm.
they don't hear it when I say it, but I know every woman ain't Mrs. She Said, ain't Precious, ain't, Take Heed, ain't,
Lady
Dating
Di.
to Marriage Support. Exactly. Like, I know every woman is not these. And I'm not going to treat them as such. And I'm not going to let any, you know, modern woman or lesser quality man tell me otherwise. And I land my plane right there. Sorry for being so long winded, y'all.
I like that. I've never heard that before. Sign if I can. Okay. Significant other. And that should only be happening when you marry. Don't be signing off on your boyfriend or your girlfriend loans. Okay. It should only happen when you are married. Okay. Hank, if you don't mind, there is room for John the Baptist if he would like to join the panel. I don't have his social media or any way to contact him, but I would love if he would join if he doesn't mind. But the series is open for him to join at any time. And I know sometimes with the link, since I think he watches through your channel, if you could just drop that for him. The
I
link
got
will be for um John the Baptist. Thank you so much for coming through with a $10 super sticker. We appreciate you, and we would definitely like you to join us if you'd like. So thank you for that, Mr. He said. And we'll go to King, the actual King Smith. Why do men want to go 50-50?
I tried to think of something that was different from what Mr. He said, and I don't have anything to provide that is different. I think, like, logically, what he had brought up about just opportunities in general. I logically, when I think about why I would like for whoever I'm with to contribute as well, because I think that long term I can say, oh, I can see our net worth being here if it's not just me, but it's her as well. So being that I don't have anything else to add, I'm just gonna stop there.
Okay, no problem. Arpane, how about for you? Why do men want to go 50-50?
Well, I think this term 50-50 has been co-opted. It's most people are work in a marriage, both the man and the woman, they both work. They've been doing that for decades. And somehow feminism has turned it into this trope that, if a woman is working, that a man is no longer traditional. That's just not true. It's been usurped and it's been turned into this whole thing that and maybe men have a little bit to do with this from the standpoint that if you have your woman out working 50 hours, 40 hours a week, you can't expect to come home and kick your feet up and she's doing everything at home as well. You have to negotiate how you're going to run the household in some fashion too. The only square that you're allowed to stand on unconditionally is your leadership.
Mhm.
The rest of that stuff, you should, be more than willing to share, and that's where some men might get it wrong. But, so when I first got married, my wife worked, but here's what I did. I made sure that, under all circumstances, we didn't live above the means that I would be able to carry the family myself. So her money went to investments, her 401k plan, and everything else, and whatever else she needed to keep herself up, she was able to spend. Right, we had a pot that we paid bills out of, and basically, I didn't, whatever she put in there was. I looked at her money as gravy because it came a time after we had our second kid that she could no longer work. I mean, not because she couldn't work, it wasn't conducive to our family structure anymore, and we didn't skip a beat. I mean, all the pressure was on me. And I was able to do that because we didn't have to change our lifestyle,
Mhm.
right? So, but she was making good money too in the 80s,
Mm.
and stuff like that. So, but it's got usurped and bastardized nowadays, where women, mostly women who believe in the feminist tropes and all that bullshit, that if they're working, then they deserve to also champion everything else. And some of the men, again, try to say, well, if I have to cook a meal, if I have to do some things around the house, I'm no longer a man. And that's bullcrap. I mean, this is your crib too,
Mhm.
So I think that's where it's at because both men and women, every other nationality seems to understand that. It's just like, I think the problem is just with black people, man. Black
Mhm.
women putting a battery in their back from the feminist movement. And this whole 50-50 is just bullshit. It's just two people putting money in the pot to get things done and to be able to handle the different ebbs and flows of life. So, but I think men have to take a hit on the fact that you can't stand on a full traditional thing if you have your woman being chased around the desk for 40 hours a week by other guys and expect her to come home and do double duty while you're just chilling playing Xbox. It's bullshit. And a woman also understands that you don't deserve, just because you're a woman, to be able to stay home and put your feet up and a man spend all his money while you can go out and hang out with the girls. That's bullshit too.
Mhm.
So it's a negotiated kind of thing. And somewhere in a marriage, that negotiation between a husband and a wife or a man and a woman somehow fell apart, in the balance of how we're going to run our household. And the households that have that together succeed, and the ones that don't, they fall apart. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's I was raised in a household like that. My mom and dad worked. Both of them worked initially. My mom had worked at the post office for years, I think over 14, 15 years. And it didn't dawn on me until I got older that my dad had went back to school to make more money. But when I was younger, I didn't know that that's what was going on. He went to a tech school, finished that, and obviously he was doing that so my mom could become a stay-at-home mom, and she did. And so, like you were saying, you have to have that plan. And the most important thing is you can't live beyond your means. You don't want to be house poor. You don't want to, be trying to keep up with the Joneses. I think James said that. You don't want to be trying to, looking in other people's yards and seeing what they drive and then what they doing because everybody's situation is different. So I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Hank. Why do men want to go? And before we go to Hank, I'm sorry, John the Baptist, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing great this evening. How y'all doing this evening?
You all right?
Doing good. Thanks
What's
so
going
much
on,
for
big brother?
joining.
Good. Thanks for having me up too.
Of course. So Hank, why do men want to go 50-50?
Man, I guess with the options that's out here now, I mean, they don't want to give it their all. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's a scarcity mindset, and maybe these guys are scared to invest fully into a lot of women because they don't see a lot of great options. Maybe I don't know. I don't believe in it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm a fan of one pot, and that's how me and my lady rolls. It doesn't matter if I make more than her. It doesn't matter. She make more than me. Whatever the case would be, it's one pot here. So, yeah, I assuming that's what it is. A scarcity mindset. They're worried about not putting their all into a woman because of maybe the options they see out there. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Hank. John the Baptist, same question for you, sir. Why do men want to go 50-50?
So I'm gonna claim ignorance for a second. I'm trying to follow the conversation. Are we talking strictly just money, or when it comes to
So
50-50?
right now we're talking money, but we'll get
Okay.
into other things later. But right now we're talking about just money, 50-50.
Yeah. So if I don't do 50-50 in relationships when it comes to marriage. It's 100-100.
Mhm.
And matter of fact, if anything, I'm gonna use the female's money for the bills, and then it's going to be divvied up to where 100% of the pies, her earnings and my earnings are both being used for the benefit of the whole house. 50-50, you keep half and I keep half, and we do what we want to with it. I don't understand that concept, so I know people do it. I just don't. I don't agree with it at all. Now you 100% what you earn and 1% what I earn is going to the family direction of the family.
All right, all right. Before we get to the next video, I wanted to get through to some of these comments here. We have Quincy who says, "Fam, I never been married, but when I was hurt, I seen how a woman will leave you high and dry, so I be leery. However, it's good to see others have that type of support." He also said, "What men is given 100% effort and respect the role of the man." Again, John the Baptist, thank you so much for your $10 super sticker. Eve says, "Hey, Precious, thanks to you and the guys on your panel. I actually listen. Now I got a good man and I'm pregnant, and the next step is marriage. Thank y'all for the good advice. Let me find out y'all listening to the channel and y'all are prospering. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for letting us know that. Well wishes. Have a great pregnancy and tie that knot, girl. Tie the knot. Okay. All righty. So we're gonna get into the next video, and I have a question for you guys. Some men marry for love because they have money. True or false? We're gonna get into this video.
Looked at me and said, "Oh no, you're not finna be out here like just wondering what you gonna do. I got it."
Yeah.
So I'm used to security, like
You-
whatever
you-
I need.
Wait,
And I think
you used to
millennials
security from what?
the guy,
Right.
and they're used to giving it without feeling taken from or whatever. But the younger man these days, oh, it got to be 50-50. They not, oh, we gonna split this check.
And do you know why though?
Like,
Which
what?
I'm not upset with the 50-50 mindset. Here's why. Because they're built wealth quicker than my generation.
I got you. But these guys are wealthy. They're not
No.
without.
Exactly. But it took them a little bit longer.
Mm.
Because this generation, like, Alex, my new creative director, right? His wife is also an influencer.
Okay.
So now you have two influencers, you know what I'm saying, coming together. That's going to make their income grow faster.
Correct. Got you.
My mindset is I'm really not. I got money. So my thing is like I want love.
All right. So, true or false? There are men who marry for love because they have money. Do you guys see that often? Is that the sentiment of men when they marry? They're
False.
not marrying for
No.
love.
False. Not at all.
They're not marrying for money.
Not
They're
at
marrying
all,
for love.
Presh.
No. Let me hit
Not at
that
all.
button.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, whoever want to go
we
first, go
marry for
ahead.
love. because of the selflessness that it is to be a man. Again, when we accumulate riches, it's to provide for our family. We automatically start thinking about other people.
Mhm.
Our aspirations are based on other people. We want the bigger house. We have the ambition and the drive because we want to provide for our families. And on the women's side, it's something different. And I don't know, why people fail to see that the most educated, the most graduated, the most employed, the most business owners, okay, so pay your way, pay your fare. If you could pay like you weigh, then you can stay. Like, and again, this is the naivety of 2023, because back in my day, in the 80s and the 90s, that's why you dated a fat chick, because she could pay like she could weigh and she could stay. She come to the park with a Thanksgiving meal for you, and that's a snack. Like, wait, that's a snack? Stuffing, cranberry sauce, and damn. Yeah, and that's why I date a
Away.
fat girl. And again, they knew they place. Now 2023, because they nails is done, they really think that they all that. But you just your nails is just done. So people got to understand, humble themselves, get out your own way, and I think you'll do fine. But if they do something different than that, you're gonna get different results.
All right. King, did you want to go next? You felt pretty passionate about this.
I can go.
Okay. James.
I can say, so I think it's like, so with a guy, right? If you have everything in the world that you want, right? He said he has money, you can do whatever you want, go on these trips, you can do all this type of stuff, right? We look at it like, okay, we got all this, but nobody to share it with, you know what I mean? It's for nothing. You know what I mean? So our mindset is, okay, I have to find somebody that I can make life easier for them, and they can give me something back too as well. So that's why a lot of guys, even like if they like millionaires, they wish they had them at a younger age and they grew with them. Because once you get at the top, it's kind of hard to trust somebody. But at the end of the day, they still want somebody to do. That's why like most inventions are made by men to make other people's lives easier, right? Like the washing machine. Like back in the day, guys wasn't washing clothes. They didn't have nothing to do with that, but they still created the washing machine because they knew that their wife, they seen that, so the guy that did it seen his wife doing all this type of stuff all the time, and they said, okay, we can make some money off this. Hey, baby, try this machine out, and they probably work the kinks out and all that type of stuff. Now we have a great product. So I think when guys get to a certain level, they always look back and say, okay, who can I share this with? You know what I mean? If they don't have nobody to share it with, it's for, to us, it's for nothing. It's like it's a waste of money. You ain't got no legacy to give it to. It's so why I got all this money and I can't do anything with it when I'm gone. So that's why I think why he's kind of saying that.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Okay, Tulisto.
I like Ao. I love his content. I like his mindset. However, I think that if you poll 100 guys, you will get some guys, but I think it is a real small minority of people that would list, I would like to get married for love after I've acquired my wealth as the reason for doing it. I think that if you were to take a look at what the top 3 reasons would be, it would be like what James said, family / legacy, companionship, and maybe societal expectations with how people treat you, you know what I'm saying, once you're married. So I'm not saying that what Ao is saying is invalid. I just think that it's a real small minority of men who are wealthy that are then saying, all right, I've amassed my wealth, now I'm looking for love. Yeah, that'd be a real small case number.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? Pain?
Yeah, I still don't know 100% where he's coming from. I think in general, too many men marry for love, and that's why they get burnt, right? And, I think a lot of men don't understand the power of asking a woman to be your wife, and so love. If you marry a woman for love without saying, "Hey, listen, is this woman worthy of being my wife from the standpoint of what she gives me to help our plan move forward?" Me loving her is not going to get us there. It's just not. You know, is she gonna be loyal to you? Now, if I'm a rich man, that's where, and she knows it, this is where I would have trouble with. Is she with me because I'm rich, or could she be loyal? Is she with me because I'm rich, or can she be exclusive with me?
Mhm.
And is she with me because I'm rich? Does she respect me? You know, these are the things that for me were more important than love. Now, I mean, I love my wife, but and I didn't really focalize this stuff back in the '80s. But when I met my woman, I was enamored with her, but I didn't marry her just for love and sex. It wasn't at
Right.
the top of my list.
Mhm.
You know, she gave me a whole bunch of things for me to say, God, man, this woman is it. And this puppy love thing wasn't at the top of my list. You know,
Mhm.
it was for the spirit that she gave me. And I can see that then, and I see it now. Right? I see it, I saw it then. So if I was rich, I would never marry a woman just for love. I mean, because that's not sustainable from that standpoint. It sounds hollow to me for him to say that. What is she giving you? Does she love you back? You know, so I think he's just talking,
Mm.
and I don't think he knows what the hell he's talking about. That's just me,
Mhm.
so because love is good, but society has proven that love is even fleeting,
Mm.
you know. So and it's not enough to sustain a lifelong marriage. And if you're a millionaire, he sounds like a kind of guy who would he fall in love with a woman and he'll give away everything he's earned when she divorces his ass because all he did was love her. That just sounds stupid to me. Anyway, so let me just land it there. I guess we can get it a little bit deeper, but
Mhm.
I'll just land it there because maybe I just misinterpreted. And the chick who he was talking to, I didn't like what she said either. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, man. I didn't like her entitlement sounding the way she was talking. Who the hell are you?
Mhm.
What are you giving that's unique besides being cute?
Mhm.
So let me just let it on. I mean, maybe I need to see the video a couple more
I
times.
heard that.
No, it's okay. All perspectives are welcome. Thank
I'm
you.
done.
Mister, he said, how about for you? True or false? So some men marry for love because they already have money. Is that true or false?
Mm-mm. Nah, you got me on this one. I said love. I think they marry for love. Again, like our Payne said, it could be disingenuous, you
Mhm.
know. And for me, I think love is consideration. So I think that consideration, like I told you, to know that there's an upside to this. Like I'm a sports guy. That one thing we focus on is somebody's upside. I get what you
Mhm.
can do now, but in time, I'm Showtime at the Apollo. I'm New York City. We judge talent. I know how to pick a good person, and a good person hopefully knows how to pick a good me. And that's what I told you about the missus. Like she walked up to me. I didn't know her from a can of paint. Like again, I took so many people say I'm lucky and how'd you get her? I didn't. She walked
Mhm.
up to me. So, all I had to do was prove to her she's a good picker. And again, I'm a good judge of character. I don't blame anybody but me. I look at intangibles. I don't look at no tangibles. I don't care about the size of your breast and your butt. Do big boobies and big booty equal a blessing? That's a question for the
Mm.
fellas.
It's
Because
dropping a bomb
I heard
tonight.
fellas tell me they've met women that are voluptuous and are not nice. They've never been accommodating. They're not pleasing. They always think they need to be compensated and given something for their voluptuousness. And I come from the 90s, Halle Berry and Lisa Bonet and the girl from Groove Theory. These girls wasn't voluptuous. The girl from In Vogue, these were the girls we fawned over. So,
Mhm.
I don't know where these guys come with, they need the big booty, and that's why these girls got to get the implants. And y'all have all of that. I'd rather have a girl with good character, good qualities that sees the upside in me. I don't care about the size of her booty. And that's where doo-doo comes out.
Oh, little booties matter too, okay?
I was gonna add one little thing too, because you guys, you got to be careful with those type of women because those women are getting all the attention. Just like
Right.
when men get all the attention when they have the money, though You see how guys will act, right? They don't want to really settle down. Those type of women not too. So you got to be careful with that. So he said that's a bar right there. I hope y'all caught it.
It ain't your booty, it's your beauty. So no, I'm just kidding. All right, so Hank, how about for you?
I guess I'm gonna be a heel on this one.
All right
Look,
now.
ain't nothing wrong with a big old ass and big titty now, guys. Don't
Knew Hank
don't
was
get
gonna
that messed up. I have no problem with it. I love it. But the most important thing is what's between her ears, man. That's my biggest concern. Can she hold a conversation? Can she hold my attention other than her looks? You know what I'm saying? Can she make me laugh? Can she make me question? Can she make me think? Does she stimulate me more than just sexually? You know, all of those things are very important to me. Is she willing to be on the plan? Whatever plan I may have that's going to help us be successful, is she willing on doing that? Now, as far as this video, I guess I'm like, Payne, I don't know, man. I don't know how to take that video. I really don't. But with that being said, guys just need to make sure they need to do what they need to do and make sure they are actually asking the tough questions. I know people get upset when I say, but I interrogate them. I'm not going. I'm interrogating. I'm putting the FBI spotlight on them, and I'm asking these questions. I'm using scenarios. I'm using examples. I don't care if it's stars or the common Joe. Whatever way I can get the answers that I'm need and I'm looking for, I'm going to get. And if I don't agree, and if I don't align with them answers, that's a problem with me. Now I'm gonna give you the opportunity to show me you about what you say, because now it's not just about talking. I need to see it in your actions, because talk is cheap. That's what we say where I'm from. Actions speak louder than any words. Now, if you don't talk the way you act, now that's a problem. You just putting on the front. You're lying to me. Oh, this is for the gram. Yeah, I'm gonna let these other brothers who shallow and just look for the beauty about you. I'm gonna let them dudes have you, and I'm gonna go and move on to something real.
Hey, John, before you go, let me just say this, real quick. Being on these panels kind of makes me reflect back to when I was courting my wife. We had so many meaningful conversations, always starting from the standpoint of me asking her or telling her that I don't need another girlfriend. What are we going to do? What are we going to do something with this relationship? And that was before I made a proposal or anything. I just say, what are you looking for? And we talked a lot about a lot of stuff about what it would be like being together, and let me just land it there. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so to answer the question, are there some men that get married for love? Answer the question, yes, I think there are some men that get married for love. Do I agree with it? I don't like using the word love because in American dialect language, I don't think we understand what the word love actually means. I think we confuse love and with the emotional type of feelings of how we feel about somebody. We can fall in and out of love quickly in marriages and in relationships. So I don't like that word love, especially when hearing it coming from a man. In my opinion, I like the word duty. Do you understand your duties as a relationship in a relationship to your wife? Because duty is not about how you feel. Duty is you understand your responsibility, what you have to get done. No matter how you feel, you're going to do it.
All right. Thank you guys so much. If you're just joining, definitely hit that like button. Share this live. I think it'll be, beneficial for all those who are in relationships who need some perspective from guys who are in committed relationships, married. I really do appreciate you guys' perspective. So again, thank you so much for being here. We're gonna go on to this next video because I came across this video and my question to you guys, and we'll get into it after the video. But we talk about for richer or for poor, but other than money, what areas can you be rich and poor in? So we're gonna play this video. Now this is a little different than what y'all are used to now. on social media. All right. This video not gonna get all the plays like all the other videos get because this woman actually is presenting herself in a different way than the woman of 2023 would probably present herself to her husband.
Submit to you. I will forever submit to you. I'll forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home and no other. There is no other, there is no one, no plans of hell will ever prosper in our marriage and will ever hold me not to be a wife that is a Proverbs 31 woman. I will become that woman that builds the home as I follow you, as you follow Christ. That is the only thing that we will do in our household. And I promise and I vow that in heaven they hear. On earth I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you as we continue to do this work of God.
All right, now I know y'all haven't seen somebody like that in these YouTube streets on social media. But that is a display of her love and her submission to her husband. And you know, men aren't with women, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but men aren't necessarily with women for their money. So I want you guys to kind of dive deeper into, you know, we hear for richer, for poorer, and we think money, right? But what characteristics can someone have that displays rich characteristics or poorer characteristics? James,
I
we'll
want to
start with
correct something right quick.
you. Uh-huh.
The narrative that men are not with women for money.
Okay.
I totally disagree with that.
Okay.
I'm not with them. Okay, I'm gonna be clear. I'm gonna make sure I'm precise. Whatever value she has, bring that value to me.
hmm
Don't leave your value. Bring your value with me. It includes money. Whatever value you have, bring it. Because it's only you're bringing what makes you great into the marriage. If it's your money, if it's your character, if it's your personality, if it's your ability to submit, if it's whatever greatness you have, don't leave a portion for somebody else and then
hmm
bring what's left over to me. Bring everything that's instilled into you from your parents, bring that into my house.
Okay. I stand corrected. All right. So you guys want to dive into the rich or poor characteristics that
I'll give it a shot.
yeah. hmm
You know, when I see that, I've seen that video several times, and
hmm
you know, it kind of chokes me up. The kind of devotion that she's showing to that man,
hmm
uh, a little bit. And I don't think it was overkill. That's her vows to him. That's her promise to do whatever it takes for their marriage to be successful. And whether a woman gets on her knees to say that to a man, I feel that way sometimes with my wife, and you know, because we have a whole history of things that she's done for me
hmm
that I could never repay her for. Okay, and not just my kids. Now, you know, and the biggest story is my kids because it took her 10 years to have my two daughters. And in between that, one of those times I had to tell my youngest that, you know, her sister, you know, died and, you know, passed away, had a miscarriage. And it was like 6 months old.
Sorry. hmm
And we had to go through a lot. And I don't know if I told you the story already about the operation and all that kind of stuff, but she went through a lot. That was then, and then I had some issues myself. I mean, I'm not young. I had to do some things, and she had to take care of me without question a little bit, you know.
hmm
Uh, um, through any kind of trial, any kind of tribulation, she's just been there, you know. And she doesn't question me on those things at all. Whether she get on her knees like that to me, I don't know. But I, you know, so but I like that the intangible of richer or for poorer is something that you have to be able to measure in your marriage, and it's not money. You could take money out of it. Uh, my wife has never embarrassed me. I've never had any trouble bringing her in front of any corporational events I've had. Matter of fact, when she's there, I'm always elevated,
Mm.
right? Because when she talks to a woman or a wife or executive person, she flashes the dimples and I'm already elevated, right? Like, how did this clown get that woman? You know? So, and you know, and she doesn't have to force that. You know, my family took to her and she took to my family real quick. So, yeah, so there's a lot of intangibles that you get in a marriage like that, you know, and it's nice, you know, it's nice to have. It really is. It's something that I don't pity the people of the day, but I wish more people could experience that,
Mhm.
you know, because it's timeless. And I don't agree with the modern tropes that you can't find relationships like that. Well, you know, you need to just keep digging until you find a person who wants what you want, and then y'all can make it happen no matter what age that we're in. That's what I believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll go up to Mr. He said, for richer, for poor, without speaking about, money and like Arpane was saying, the intangibles, what are some of those? What was it that, was rich within your wife? And I think you kind of spoke on this last show, but for those who are watching now, the richer, for poor, without speaking about money, how did that help you guys come to matrimony?
That's a great question. For me, uh, it's a plethora of things, but our pain said, and like I said earlier, those intangibles, the most operative for me was confidence and integrity. Because again, we were gonna fledge our own family, Presh, and you need to have the confidence and the integrity to uphold our family values, to take what we need from our family, the what to do or what not to do or whatever the case may be, but have the integrity and the confidence to uphold that, to again wave our flag the way we do, to uphold the Harris name the way we do, and stand on our principles even when we know people are going to come and be naysayers, and people are not going to agree with our position, but we continue to hold that. And again, the confidence and the integrity was the most operative, intangible things that I seen that made her one of the richest women in the world, in my opinion.
Mm, confidence and integrity. Okay. How about for you, the actual King Smith, the intangibles um, didn't have to do with money. How would you weigh those things going forward if you were to make the decision to be married again?
I don't have an answer right now.
Okay, that's fine. James, the intangibles, how important were those things when it was time to say I do to Lady Di?
Man, honestly, so I knew from like a young age, like with love for men, what we see is we basically saying somebody that's gonna be loyal to us and be able to sacrifice right their wants and their needs in order to for the greater good. Because guys we always taught at a young age that you have to sacrifice for the greater good of everybody else, right? Even as for a basketball team, you play sports, you might have to play less minutes. You probably have to pass more. You think you got the best shot on the team, but that don't matter. You got to make sure you run the play. So I think if a woman's able to play her position, play that part, just like how a lot of guys we had to do, we feel like more of a unionship. And how guys in the locker room are. We like brothers, So bringing that type of love and care and some of the intangibles are like having like that and having like peace, happiness, being able to trust, not being embarrassed, right? Like if it's been times where me and my wife been out at Family Gathering and she bring me my food, and all the other wives like what? And then all the husbands looking at me like, what I'm saying, what, you got your wife to do that, and type of stuff, and she wasn't embarrassed to do that. So just like how the wife got on her knees and did that in front of her whole family, so that's major to us. And guys, your husband will respect that, your husband love that. Ladies, stop trying to be like the other women and being miserable like them. You don't have to be like them. You know what I mean? Show your man that respect, you know what I mean, that love and care, and he'll make sure you're taken care of.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. One thing about that video, before we move on, that got me was, she's on her knees, she's submitting to him in a way that you don't see often. But the other thing that I liked about the video is that she had women in the background cheering her on, pretty much to say, this is how you show reverence to the person that you're about to spend the rest of your life with. And we're actually going to get into some Tyrese and Samantha Lee, because we all know she said she ain't had no people in her corner to support her. But that was one thing that stood out to me as well, where she had the support of others. Like, yes, girl, that's how you do it, So I enjoyed that part of the video. Hank, how about for you? The intangibles, how important is that when we talk about for richer or for poor, and we're not talking about money, but those intangible things, how important is that for matrimony for you?
It's very important. But first things first, I'm gonna say, King, you have been a terrible heel today. I don't know what's going on. You've been a terrible heel.
Roll Tide, man. Roll Tide. We all right.
Oh man, no, but on a serious note, yes, it's very important. I mean, other than money, it's probably the most important thing other than money. You know what I'm saying? Just the intangibles, just to when she's knows there's some things that she needs to change or correct that I don't like. She's willing on doing that. I don't know how many women who will be okay with when I sit there and say, I'm not a fan of the girl trips, and willing to shut that down and have the conversation with her girlfriends, letting them know I won't be on no more girls trips. I don't know how many women would be willing to do that. Matter of fact, they were trying to negotiate and try to say, well, what if I do it, once or twice a year?
Right.
And more than likely the man gonna fall, well, okay, if it's just once or twice a year, I'm okay. No. I said none. Now, tell your girlfriends I'll be there. I'm not gonna go to the same little bar y'all be at, but I'll be in the same vicinity. We're gonna make us a couple trip. And she's okay with that. And her first question, would it be right for you to do the same? I said, ma'am, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. So if I'm not willing to do it myself, why would I put that on you? I know that's not fair. I mean, I gotta be a selfish son of a gun if I were to try to do some shit like that. That's not me. So for her to be willing to do that and to make that adjustment quick, fast, in a hurry, it wasn't a long game thing. It wasn't like a 2-year plan. She didn't need to go to no AA meetings, girls travel rehab, or none of that stuff. It was immediately, let's make it happen. If that's what it's gonna take to get you as my husband, so be it. And she was willing on doing that. Other little things like one pot. To ask a woman to be about one pot, and that you probably not gonna get a lot of people doing that. I get funny looks now when I even mention it, and I'm cool with it. I don't care. This is the way my household's gonna be ran. This is the way we do. And they say, "Well, Hank, you've been divorced." You're right. I could lose everything, and you are 100% right. I could, but guess what? I'll be willing to roll the dice and take that chance again, and to get back into the one of the greatest fraternity/sororities I can, and it's in marriage. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to take that chance again. So she's willing to do it. I'm willing to do it. Let's do it. Those are the little intangibles that the expectations that I have that she's willing to change. When I correct about being agreeable or want to be argumentative, these are things she's willing to make adjustments. I don't, some people just not willing to make those adjustments. They still won't feel like they got to get it off, but she's willing to be respectful and do the right thing. So the little things like that, that's very important. That's going to keep your mind right. That's going to give you peace. I mean, what's the one thing you making nice money, but man, she's sending you through it. As soon as you walk through the door, she's nagging and on your ass. God damn. Hell no, ain't enough money in the world worth that. So,
yeah.
Can I add one thing, Miss Precious?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as
I meant to say this earlier, but I was, got sidetracked with that first statement I made. But I wanted to just like get a humble brag about my wife. When I first met her, I met her in the military, and one thing I noticed about her was that her ability to, once there was a system in place, she was a great supporter. And I saw that in the military. I learned that. So I like that would translate into great into marriage. And I can really say for rich or for poor, that quality about her has been through our marriage for 28 years. Once there's a system in place, once she knows what's expected of her, no questions asked, consistently going to get done. And I think that's a quality of commitment for that rich and poor we're talking about. That through the good times and the bad times, that quality that if a woman can display that quality from the beginning throughout the middle all the way to the end, that lady who submitted in their wedding by getting on her knees and submitting to her husband physically, to show what I'm looking for, literally and figuratively.
Mhm.
If she could do it throughout the marriage, that's what men are looking for. That's the
Mhm.
quality that men are looking for.
Yeah. Not every woman has the ability to follow, right? You said there's systems in place and boom, she's right with it. Um, not a lot, and when I say follow, I mean more so follow a man. They'll follow their girlfriends. They'll follow, trends. They'll follow social media. I mean, it's a whole follow button, right? But when you're able to submit and be able to adhere to the systems and adhere to those things, I would say that is a great quality. I know being on teams all my life, I'm like, I'm not good on my own. I need somebody to follow. You know what I mean? Like it's just ingrained in me to, have structure, to have that discipline. And so when I'm on my own, I'm not as good as when I'm on a team. And that's just me knowing me. So thanks for pointing that out and shout out to you and your wife and 28 years, 27,
Yes,
28,
ma'am. Yes.
28. So yeah, shout out to y'all. All right. So I'm gonna play this next video. It actually speaks to what Hank was talking about, the one pot theory. And he does say it all the time. That is a phrase that he has coined. We should get it on a t-shirt. A hoodie. It's hoodie weather. It's sweater weather. So maybe we should get it on a
Bang,
hoodie.
bang.
Okay. But I'm gonna play this video. Now, you guys, a lot of you guys may know this couple. This woman actually retired her husband. He was working and she actually retired him. And this is what she has to say about, for richer, for poor, and a one pot theory.
25 together. April 19th. The power of strong union versus the power of strong partnership. Yeah. And being married and having finances together. Talk about the complexities of that. Shoot, we are very rare. It has always been our money together. We struggled together, and we've never had separate bank accounts that we like keep away from each other. Everything, for a very long time, we had one. Everything just went in that one. Now we got multiple, but all of them are still ours. I don't know how other couples do it, because that also is not my business. But for me, it's like, if I ain't got it, he ain't got it. If he got it, I got it, right? Like, we in it together. So our foundation is locked, and we build together. That's just what it is. And no matter how much we get, it's gonna still be the same.
Love me some Tabitha Brown. I wish she was my aunt in real life. But she just got that spirit where it's just like, I just want to be around her. Because she's very practical, and very warm. And I wanted to ask you guys, what do you say to the woman who is fearful of that one pot theory, or who is fearful with, being on her own and saying, all right, we're coming together now and we have to do we have to be financially focused. And I'm a little fearful of that. I've been dealing with it by myself for so long, and now I actually have to get financially naked for this man. What do you say to the woman that, may be apprehensive to that?
Deuces.
Oh.
He said, "Deuces." Where's the
Deuces.
skedaddle? Where's the
Deuces. Just, hey,
Got off.
ah,
now it's not necessarily that she doesn't want to do it, but she just may be a little bit apprehensive to it. Not to say that she's like, all right, I
She's
can't do this one pot thing, but go ahead.
if she
give her.
has any kind. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, hey John. You have the floor.
If she has any reservations or any hesitancy about joining forces together, like what is it? I can make sure I said his name right. As actual King Smith said, because that's going to be reservations, hesitancy to understand that concept. It's going to be struggle later down the road.
There's no doubt.
I was going to say, honestly, if a lot of people put more value into money rather than their body, so they'll give their body open to a man. They'll give everything. They be down for them. They'll be putting money on their books in jail, all that type of stuff, right? But let them say, hey, let's put this money in the pot and let's build something together. Now all of a sudden, hold on now. You know what I mean? Now they got it's like we talk about you voted Democrat, Republican type of conversations or something like that, rather than just, just having like a genuine conversation like, hey, all right, I trust you, you trust me, right? Cool. Let's put this together. Right. And then they'll get mad if a guy said, hey, let's sign a prenup. You know what I'm saying? They'll get mad at that, but they don't want to do the one pot thing when they're in a relationship. So I think we gotta, be more understanding of how we look at things. And also too, I love the fro. I wanted to say that as well. So, I love when the sisters, wearing the fro. But we gotta change our mindset, because we have a failure mindset, and it's gonna keep destroying our communities if we don't get out of this. So
all right, Arpain?
Yeah, well, this situation is another reason why I think marriage needs to happen when you're younger. And that's because, when people are pretty much set in their ways in their 30s and older, it's going to be harder to make that transition. I mean, in our family, we have one pot. I mean, all of our accounts have both of our names on it. And I mentioned last week that I'm anal enough. I have a flow chart of where the money comes in and how it gets processed everywhere, and then what's left after all that. So, so I'm not. I think the one pot theory is great. Now, just to be full disclosure, my wife does have a small account, but I have the number of the password. There ain't no money in it. There ain't no money.
A little petty cash.
Yeah. She can't dip out. She was worried. It's funny because we had that conversation. She said, well, everybody told me you're supposed to have your own account. And I broke out laughing. I said, okay, so where are you going to escape to with that, with what you got in that account? I said, we got everything with both our name on. What are you worried about? And that was a long time. I don't know, 30 years ago or some kind of crap when we had that kind of conversation. I said, you got this account and you can't do nothing with it. You're lucky it's still open. You probably got to pay a fee because there ain't no damn minimum in there. So you're not really doing a good job with your little getaway money. So you're just tripping, So anyway, but I don't even think about it. But everything has both of our names on it. Just everything, So
Right.
I like the one pot theory, even if there's many pots. Is both is joint. Everything is joint.
Right.
And one thing to add, I'm sorry. What if something happened to you, right? And say if you was in a car crash, you lost your life or something like that, right? How's she going to access those funds? What I mean? So now you've been so secretive. Oh, I hope she don't take this, or she been so secretive. Now, once you need that, that bread, because they're going to go. Say if y'all not married, it's going to go to the next of kin. It's not going to you. So, but you was holding him down all these years, but y'all being so secretive with y'all account. No, that money don't go to you. It's gonna go to his mama, and hopefully he got a good mama.
Talk about it, James. Talk about it. I told him Mrs. Drain everything, because they're gonna make you give the death certificate, and how our financial institutions do. So listen, drain everything one day at a time if you got to, but get all you can get, liquidated until you got to produce paperwork and all of that. But no, and again, you got to have these provisions in place. Again, if y'all talking about who's paying for the first date, or don't ask me how much I weigh, y'all are missing the point. Y'all need to be talking about a lot bigger conversations and bigger, intangible things to see if you guys are compatible for a relationship. Sorry to butt in, y'all.
No, I mean, let me answer Eve's statement first. You have to trust your girl. I do trust her. I trust her with all my heart, but I don't trust you other hard ankles around her. That's my issue. I don't trust that y'all are safe and y'all gonna do well by my lady. That's what I don't trust. So it's not that I don't trust her, it's just I don't trust everyone else. I may not trust all her girlfriends. So what I'm gonna do, I can't eliminate them. I require her to get rid of those ratchet ones. But doesn't mean they can't they can't come to the trip. I can't stop them from going. So if they going, they're gonna try to influence my woman. No, we're not having this. But that won't be a problem. Why? Because she won't be there with y'all, not by herself. I will be there. Now, again, I'm saying I'm not gonna sit at the table while y'all have a good time. Y'all have a drink, y'all eat dinner. I'm gonna be off probably at a sports bar watching the game or something. But when she comes on to the hotel room or the Airbnb, guess who's gonna be there right with the porch light on? All the ones gonna be there opening the door when she come in, waiting to get love down. It's gonna be Ink. I'm gonna be there waiting on her. Nobody else. So to answer this question about
my brother.
Damn, I don't know what's the question.
One pot. We talking about your thing. We talking about your one pot.
One pot.
Look here, guys. Like James said, you'll give me your body, but you worried about that paper, because that's all it is paper. That's all it is paper. So with that paper being said, y'all realize if something happened, like you said, we get divorced, marital assets will be split regardless. I've been divorced. I know what they're going to bring. All bank statements, all paperwork to the table. Ain't no hiding it here or there. I got an account over in Dallas, Texas, but I live here in Kentucky. No. I need all them statements. And if you try to hide it, there will be some legal ramifications if you try to do such.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to work for you. You're going to be splitting it anyway.
Yeah.
Come to the altar with Hink, with all your money and all your tithes, and we're going to eat good together. We're going to make sure we're going to be well off. Nobody's going to be without. My lady has every access to every account. There's no secrets, no past. My wife will have everything. There's nothing she won't have. She want to come in while I'm taking a dump. Ain't no privacy in this house. It's all open. Come on there. I'm wiping my ass. But if that's what you want to see, come on in there and see it. I'm taking a shower. You won't see it.
I want to hear it.
I
don't even want to hear you talk about it. I don't even want to hear you talk about it.
I gotta keep it honest, baby.
It's the real precious. They keeping it all the way real over here, okay?
Just hear you talk about it, baby. You want to go to sleep.
I appreciate him. I appreciate you sharing.
No closed doors in this house.
No. There's none. There's none. Everybody gonna know everything. She gonna know everything.
Mm-hmm.
She gonna have the USB with all the passwords that she needs, and we all have it together. It won't be no secrets. So again, everything's gonna be a friend. So she can say, "Well, I didn't know about." No, that's false. You have every access to everything you need and want to know about your man. You got that. There won't be a secret. So you don't have to feel uneasy or insecure. No, why are you feeling that way, baby? I'm giving you everything you need to know. What do you want to know? So that's what she's gonna have. That's a part of the blessing she's gonna get. That's a part of my 1 part 30. Now, if the woman ain't for the 1 part 30, I'm gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna try to convince you this is why we need to do it. Now, if you're not willing to move on that, neither am I. Like I said, I'll leave you at the restaurant and keep it moving. I maybe missed the good times we had, the intimate moments we had, but at the end of the day, it's about these standards that I will not move off on. And then you have to have standards that you will not move on. Do not negotiate them. If you got non-negotiable standards, then stick with them. stick with them. I don't care what they are. If you feel like they're extreme, then you better convince me why you think that. And you need to convince me, and if, like I said, if you can't convince me, then I'm not moving. I'm 10 toes down on this. I'm not going anywhere. Deal with it. I'll move on to the next one.
Okay. John the Baptist, did you go on this, the one pot theory?
Yeah, I did.
If a woman is apprehensive about it?
I'll jump in. I'll
Oh, yeah, you did
I'll
say it.
jump
You
in
did.
after Hink only because I kind of want to jump in on the girls trip. I kind of commented in the comments too, and Easy Money wants to know why we as men are so against girls trips, and I have a perspective of my own, and I'll also answer your question as well. For me, I'm not Liam Neeson. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't know how to navigate the streets of Paris and get to her if something happens. So, like my brother said, if I could be at the hotel, if I could be a little bit closer in proximity so that it's realistic that if something happens, I can be able to help or try to get some answers, that would be great because we see the results. We fast forward a year and a half, 2 years to all of the girls' trips, and the friends have different stories, and nobody wants to tell mama what actually happened. So it's a lot of lack of accountability, responsibility. We also play a clip on my show that they call Ho and Go. And they said, if you don't want to go on the girls' trips, you need to go on the church retreats because they are down for dick sucking, hoeing. And if you're not for hoeing, you're against hoeing. And again, when I first came in this space, I was unapologetic and very articulate about not being with girls' trips because of those reasons right there. And to answer your question about the one pot, I mean, realistically, is there more than one pot? Because I'm just going to land my plane right here. If somebody breaks the car windshield and we 50-50, do we not get the car windshield fixed? Do we not call car safe place? Because that's your money and you're not planning on spending it now, but we need the car repaired. So realistically, all of that two-pot nonsense is just nonsense, because if something needs to be done in the household, are we going to neglect it because it's coming out of our quote unquote one pot? So, again, like these guys said, the scarcity mindset, the pessimistic mindset is absolutely what they're operating out of. And you see the results of that. So, Easy Money is saying, what about the guys' trips? It just starts to be this whataboutism, and it's just Stockholm syndrome. He's been around girls so much that he started to adopt their arguments and their talking points and regurgitating them to men. And we're men. No, I'm not Liam Neeson. I can't get from America to Paris in less than an hour and save my woman. So I would rather be in close proximity and something realistic. And it's not about control, because we're in a marriage. You guys are really being, disingenuous. And I'll land my plane right there.
Mr.
So
He said, to your point,
Mr. She said about to send your ass to collection to get half on that grocery, I guess.
Mr. E said, to your point, Lisa should let his wife go, and she got taken like 3 times. I think that's too many girls trips.
I mean, and again, you see the girls that as soon as they come back, they thinking about the next one. It's come on, man. Like you could get a simple guy with that, but you can't get the God. Peace to the gods and the earths.
Hey, what's up, JR? What's going on, bro?
Welcome to the panel, JR. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing fine. About yourself?
Doing good. Doing good. So you just joined us. We're talking about the one pot theory. I'm not quite sure if you saw the last video that we played.
Let's see the last video. I just heard some of the conversation.
Tap of the crown. I'll play it again. Let's see here.
25 together.
25 together.
Next month, April 19th.
The power of strong union versus the power of strong partnership.
Yeah.
And being married and having finances together. Talk about the complexities of that.
Shoot, we are very rare. It has always been our money together. We struggled together, and we've never had separate bank accounts that we keep away from each other. Everything, for a very long time, we had one. Everything just went in that one. Now we got multiple, but all of them are still ours. I don't know how other couples do it because that also is not my business. But for me, it's like if I ain't got it, he ain't got it. If he got it, I got it. Right? Like we in it together. So our foundation is locked, and we build together. That's just what it is. And don't matter how much we get, it's gonna still be the same.
All right, JR. So what do you think about that? The one pot theory, or at least access to all of the pots. Everyone has access to all of the pots.
Well, when I was younger and growing up, I wasn't really for it. I don't think that I really understood that because how I was brought up, like your money is your money, my money is my money. So I think back in the day it used to be like that. I think that a lot of people didn't really have no choice. They didn't really see it no other way because they had different fights and struggles. But I think as the world kept moving forward, I think a lot of things have changed. A lot of things shifted, which has a lot of people mindset shifting. And I think that we as teenagers and kids and growing up, we didn't see that in our house. So I think that we started to mimic a lot of the behavior that we seen. And think about family, like family reunions, think about just everything you used to do back in the day. You don't see those things no more. And part of the reason is that because at some point it got lost and we stopped carrying over those traditions. Also, I want to highlight too that it's about trust when it comes to that as well, because if you are the breadwinner and she's not responsible, then it's going to be really hard for you to say that she has access to those accounts. Because if you bring it in and you are in that top 10% and she's a spender, then it can hurt you guys more. So now you got to have an account that she only has access to because she don't know how to spend. And that's something you kind of train up on, and she may not never get it. But now that you're married, it's something you got to deal with. Mm-hmm. So like the whole one pot thing, it all depends upon the relationship. I think it takes a certain level of maturity in order to be able to adopt that process in there. And it takes a great deal of trust, man. I mean, I can't even describe just giving somebody complete access to it. So if you've been burned in some type of way, meaning that women have dated you or been involved with you just for money, then I can really see you having that insecurity and not letting that happen. Or she has to prove herself like to a certain degree before she gets the access. She has to earn it. So if you are considering marriage, I think you might want to factor those things in. Then that way, at least you know what you're getting yourself into, and you can give her all access. And the more I listen to these conversations, especially when every time I hear Hink say one pot, or I hear somebody say it, I always think those are Hink's words. That's why I told him to go ahead and trademark it. But I mean, that's something that's really serious, and it could be beneficial if done correctly. Like that whole mindset of one pot is powerful. But I think that everybody has to, that the two people have to agree to it and want to see it all the way through.
Sure. I was going to add, so like you got to be able to test your wife. Like even with me and my wife, right before we got together, I did a little test on her, right? Like we used to go to grocery shopping together. I see how she's spending money. I said, hey, instead of buying that, you know what I mean, look at how much pounds you getting compared to the price, do the calculation in your head, you get more with this one. And I'm teaching her how to shop and stuff like that, right? Just, you know what I mean? So she can kind of get my mindset. And then like I was doing like little small things. So I actually put her name on a small credit card. Once we got like a little bit more serious, we was together for like a year or some change. So now I'm seeing how she's spending money. Every time before she spent something, she called me. She was like, hey, I'm about to spend this. Is this okay? So now I'm like, all right, cool. But like what JR said, that's kind of like I'm building that trust, you know, in that relationship. So guys, right, you gotta like test you with me. If you've been together for a year or two or something like that, right? You thinking about getting married? All right, now it's time to take it to the next level. Do a little test. You might create your own or something like that. See how she handle money, and then you know what I mean. Y'all can take that next step. All right, cool. I know I can put her name on my account. You know what I mean? So now once we got married, I wasn't tripping. I put her name on accounts. All right, we good. You know what I mean? If something happened to me, you know where to go. You know what I mean? This is how I want to spend the money, blah, blah, blah. So it's a whole detailed plan. And you know what I mean? Y'all be straight.
James said, you better get that great value. Don't be trying to get them name brands. Get that great value. Okay.
Yeah, another thing is I tested my lady. I keep like $1,000 worth of ones in my house. Pain, don't get excited. It's not for what you think, brother. but nonetheless, I keep it up, and she knows exactly where it is. She knows. She watched me count it. I'm old fashioned like my grandfather. My grandfather used to put it in cans and bury it back there. He literally did that shit, and I thought he was crazy. But he said, man, in case anything goes down, I got enough cash to hold me over. So I adopted that same mindset because he taught me how to be a man. So I didn't put it in a can in the backyard, but I just kept it in my home. She knew exactly where it was. She knew exactly how much it was. I kept it around just to see how trustworthy she is. And if you have a problem, test her by seeing, is she materialistic? See, if she's a materialistic type woman, you need to see her spending habits. You need to watch and engage. Like you said, James, another thing is have the woman go to the store with a grocery list so she's not double buying. We already got 3 cans of green beans. Maybe why'd you go and get 3 more? We don't need that. We let's go check the cabinet before we go make a purchase. Little things like that. These little tricks you can learn and
Come
watch.
on, Hank.
I'm
stock
trying
the
to help
pantry.
out. That's all. I'm giving you free game. I'm not even charging you. But those are little things you can do and you should do to test and see. Matter of fact, see what her taste is and where she shops. You know what I'm saying? If she's willing to go to the cheesecake, or do I need to take her to Rude Chris? And that's what she requires of me. Is she willing to do that? I don't pay my woman's bills. I know people say, man, well, you don't pay her. No, I don't. Because
you ain't gonna like the next video.
She doesn't get that blessing until she gets my last name. Now, once she gets my last name, all bills gonna be paid by Hank and no problem with it. But I want to see how you handle your money. I want to see how you budget your money. I want to know how you move and how you operate. Of course, like I said, by the 3rd date, I'm gonna know your credit score. I don't want to know if you're worthy enough for me to put on some accounts.
How early is too early to bring up money?
It's never too early.
Never.
Because
what aspect of money are you talking about?
I will not move on. Those are one of my requirements. There's 10 questions I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna have of you, and you got to get a passing grade. So that's 7 or better. If you get a 6, you fail. Those are one of my 10 questions. What is your feelings on one pot?
What aspect of money are you talking about? How soon are you talking about it? Oh, my bad, Hank. I thought you was
like I said, by the 3rd date, I know your credit score is close. So by the 2nd date, the conversation about money is going to come up.
Let me bring my real life here into this. So I am dating someone. The person who I am dating, James knows personally. He's met her. I've talked about, it very publicly and very openly. I'm not sure if I'm interested in getting married again. Now she's aware of this. This is not news to her yet. We are talking long term. You know what I'm saying? At least looking at life together and what that can look like, not being married, right? And one of the things that is important to me, especially when it comes to the topic of for richer or for poor, even though, like I said, I'm not looking at marriage, it's still the house economics of everything. How do we pay for the things that we're talking about doing, the traveling that we're planning on doing, the eventual rent or mortgage or whatever that, her and I have. And we've talked about finances somewhat. We haven't necessarily, brought up the credit scores or anything like that, but we did create a joint account to create for saving for the trips that her and I would like to do using the passport and getting overseas. And we did this 9 months in, but I'm 39, she's 37. I think that's something that with us being older, we can work that out. But I'm hearing that younger, folks in their 20s aren't necessarily interested in even trying to do that. So I just kind of wanted to get y'all's take on that.
Can I ask you a question, King?
Go
Are
ahead,
you
bro.
are y'all planning on having any kids in this relationship?
I cannot. That's another thing that we had also talked about as well. When I said I can't, I got snipped after my one child. I never really wanted a lot of kids, so that's something that we got into our relationship with her knowing.
Because that would change all the dynamics. You know, if y'all talking about kids too.
About her, does she have any kids?
No,
She don't want kids.
she did at one point in life. That was one of the things that before her and I started to get serious, I'm like, you need to be sure, because with me, it's not happening.
So what about adoption? Would you be willing to adopt if she decided she was willing to do that?
Yes.
Go ahead, King.
Well,
So
That's
let me
what's
ask you
up.
this: is marriage completely off the table? You just there's no way, no how I could see myself saying I do again.
I don't like dealing in absolute, so I can't say for certainty that it's 100%. It's like 99% though, that with how I'm looking at my outlook for life, it's not happening again.
What's the difference if you
I'm
get?
rooting for you, King. I'm rooting for you. And Michelle, okay.
I had a question. One question. So what would be the difference in your relationship if you got married today, then tomorrow, than it is today? What's the difference?
I think that sometimes putting a title or a label on something gets people off-centered or off focus about what's important. When talking about the vows, there are the basic vows that the one lady, Mrs. I'm bad with
Jakes?
names. Oh,
Sarah Jakes in the beginning?
Jakes, yes. How they talked about the standard vows and not having these customized vows and things like that. I love that our pain comes on these panels as someone that's been married 30 plus years. I always joke married as long as I've been alive. Because it's I worry about the longevity. My marriage lasted 14 years. I didn't get married thinking that I was going to get divorced. 14 years is it seems to be, hey, you've had a good run if you've made it that long with the way that people are divorcing. But I'm scared of, and I'll just say it, King is scared. I'm gonna talk to myself in the third person. King is scared that give the title, certain expectations might change.
And that's one thing I did with my wife right before we even got married. And I said, hey, make sure you like what you liking right now, because this is what you gonna get. It ain't gonna be no flowers every day now because we married, and all this romantic stuff. This is what you getting right now. So once we do get married, this it. This is what it's gonna be. I'm treating you like I treat my wife. And she was cool with it. So that's why we got married. We've been, married like that. So I think if you like set the standard like that, that'll kind of like help out some of the, the fears of what you have, right? So because a lot of people, they are afraid of the title, right? Or just like if you have a boss right there, that person, that boss can be dumb as hell, but you'll look at him with respect because he has a title. But if we got to stop with the title type of deal. It's just a relationship. Y'all moving to the next level. You showing them that you got the ultimate commitment because you want her to have your last name, and that's it.
I think our pain agree with me when I say this. The one thing that's constant with a woman, the longer you stay with them, is change is going to happen. You can tell them, this is who I am, this is how I move. I'm going to be like this until the day I die. They will hear you say that. And 10 years down the road, they still going to change. They still going to want flowers. So the question is, can your duty and honor deal with them in their change? Because one thing that's constant with a woman is she's going to change. And to be truthful, we're going to change too.
Exactly. So why you just say we wasn't going to change in the beginning?
I'm sorry. Did I say that? If I did, I
That's
didn't
how
mean to
you
say that.
started waving your flag. You started waving your
If I
flag
did say
saying that women change.
if I did say that,
Yeah,
I probably misspoke.
you started waving your flag saying women change, like men don't.
No,
Because
I
we
was
do
speaking
as
to
well.
what
So I'm gonna jump
what-
in, And
To
what
what
I'm
James
gonna
said earlier.
say
I'll speak to what
is I
James
kind
said.
of operate from a different perspective. Expectations is something I do not have because I don't have the right to have expectations. Even if I do have them, they don't have to be met. Now we have roles in our marriage. She's my wife and I'm her husband. But expectations, I expected to have dinner. Okay, you don't. Do you know how to be resourceful and make provisions if you don't? So, I completely understand what you're saying. And like I said, in roles, then we understand that if the person that works outside the house comes home, they should have a meal. That's the reciprocation of being in a relationship. And the consideration is what I consider love of another person. But expectations, okay, you can have them, but I ain't got to meet them. And if you judge me for not meeting them, maybe we shouldn't be together. But again, I think a little different from everybody else. I'm a New Yorker, and we roll with a certain self-love, and that's what I think is missing from a lot of these younger people and relationships. And again, that's why they're so transactional. You got to get something, and it has to be of higher value or equal value, and you see no upside, you see no talent, you see no character, and then you blame everybody else because you didn't see it in the beginning. So, again, I wave a different flag. I think you should have a certain level of je ne sais quoi before you even come into a relationship. And if you don't have it, you don't have anybody else to blame but yourself. So there's no guarantees in this. All's fair in love and war. And it's not different for anybody inside of these boxes. And I
Hey,
land my
he
plane.
said, you know what you said there? I agree with you about the expectations. One of the things that I really dig my wife for is because I don't have solid expectations for her. I appreciate the things that she does for me because she chooses to do them. It like makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She chooses to do stuff for me, and I choose to do stuff for her. I believe she's been faithful all these years, not because I put some governors on her or society did or anything. She is because she chose it. And that makes a lot. Faithful to her because I chose to be. And the funny thing in these streets, it's really not that hard not to smash a lot of women. It really is. It's not really that hard. I mean, we act like there's some kind of like I gotta have a whole bunch of chicks. You really don't. But you know what, King? I want to say something to you and take it for what it's worth. I hear you. It seems sometimes it seems like you struggle with that whole thing about what kind of relationship I want long term, like marriage. But the way you come across, don't even think about getting married. Because unless you have a clarity of thought to do it, then don't do it. And be comfortable with that. Nobody could judge you for that. You know what I'm saying? Just be comfortable with that. There's nothing wrong with the way you're thinking. The only thing that makes it tough is if you're wrestling and saying, should I be doing something that you're really not comfortable with? That's where you'll get into a mistake. So if you feel comfortable being single, having your honey, and you're living that kind of life, all the rest of this stuff is, if it's not for you, there's nothing wrong. There's no right or wrong there. Just don't do something because there's some kind of societal expectation. No, don't do it. Don't do that. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So I'll leave it there. For what
All
it's
right.
worth, I'm not no therapist. I'll send the bill. I'll send you the bill.
It's gonna go on his wife's petty cash account. All right, I'm gonna highlight some of these comments and then we're gonna move on to the next video. Big Pressure says a wife and a woman are two different things. Those who findeth one obtain the favor from God. Yes, a man who finds a wife finds favor from God. She said, excuse me, protect the children by loving the other parent in public and private, even if y'all are not in love anymore. I'm just saying. Big Pressure again says it's worth it if you're wise enough to know who you are and what you want out of life. I believe he was talking about marriage. Eve says, I understand, but you got to trust your girl. We did grow over that. She said, again, women have been trained to have a few dollars tucked away for a rainy day. I'm just saying, under the mattress, tucked in a sock or purse, and them Nike shoe boxes, it just be everywhere. Dorian says, good point, Eve. No female or girls trip has precedence over my man, in my opinion. I trust and value him enough to honor his request of me because he's who I lay with at night. Easy Money Jones says, why are men so against girls trips? Are y'all taking your guy trips if she can't have a girls trip? And I did see Quincy say, men trips be whack, like old heads walking down the boardwalk, like that Whispers video.
Whispers?
Yeah, guys usually say it's
Rock
boring.
Steady. He talking about Rock Steady too. God damn.
That's a classic.
Ain't
I don't know why.
nothing like going fish. Ain't that like going fishing, drinking beers with the boys, just hanging out.
Yeah, but it's not a whole trip. It's not like, y'all have to go to Miami to do that.
Nah, I don't have to.
What I mean? Yeah. Easy Money says, she said, Dorian, I honestly don't want to go on a trip without my girlfriends, without my husband. And that is actually very important. Like Mr. He said was saying, if there's trouble, if there's something going on and she got to call you a million miles away, it's in your best interest, honestly, to go with him. And if they not down with it, it's just gonna be a trip for y'all too.
Yeah, something happened to my wife, I feel like a failure.
Yeah. Easy Money Jones
And they
says,
gonna call you
anything.
one. They gonna call you one too. Like
It's
that's
your
the thing.
fault.
You can't get on the flip side of it because they're gonna find a way either way to make you the villain, and either you the hero or the villain. You live long enough, man.
Easy Money
Wow.
Jones is tripping, man. I swear, he's always tripping like that.
Stockholm syndrome, man. He hang around ladies, man. I could tell by his comments. He hangs around a lot of ladies.
I thought this one was pretty funny. Credit score conversations on dates. Yikes! I've been out of the game too long. I need to stay married. I believe he also said something about being at Applebee's having dollar margaritas. Here we go. I could imagine drinking dollar margaritas at Applebee's, asking a woman about her credit score.
Yeah, be happy you got your wife already, man.
All right, so we're gonna get into this next video. It's of a guy pretty much talking about how he doesn't want his wife to work.
To provide, if you have a wife and she has a job too, one of y'all got to go. I believe a woman should work if she wants to work, but if she doesn't want to work, a man, not a grown boy, is supposed to provide. When I married Gladys, I never would forget when we went to the closing. I never ever shared this with her. And she had a check, I had a check. And I said, your money does not spend here. Her mother said, what a man.
Touche.
I said, you sing if you want to sing. If you don't want to sing, you don't have to sing. A man's job is to look out for his family, to provide his family.
Yes.
If I have to work 2 or 3 jobs to do that, I'm going to do that.
Wow.
Now, if a woman wants to work, that's her goal. Whatever money that she earns, she should keep that for herself.
Yes.
But not to pay bills. Come on.
All right, guys, I want your reaction to that. And then I want to ask you a follow-up question. So what do you guys think about that video? Or
So
Payne,
does
I saw
everybody
you.
know Les Brown?
What'd you say?
Les Brown. Les Brown is a well-renowned
Motivational speaker.
Mhm.
If that's who that was.
Yeah, he was married to Gladys
I
Knight.
honestly don't know who he is.
And
I
he
just
was
saw the
married. He
video.
was married to Gladys Knight for a while. Go ahead, Pressure. You were saying.
And I was wondering what Gladys he was talking about because we don't know that many Gladys. Okay. But I
Yeah.
was asking you to go. It looks like you had came off the mic, but asking you guys your reaction to that video before I ask you the question.
Well, first things first, man. I'm trying to figure out when is it too old to stop getting a Beijing and dying and shit. Oh, God damn it, man. What are we doing? It looked real bad. He put like he used a marker. You know what a black sharp is. To fill in. We can't keep doing this, old heads. Come on, bro. Come on. Yeah, I know. Boy, they doing his eyebrows, his hair, and everything. Boy, they got him clean on it.
Bang, bang.
Hey, that dark skinned man was clean. What you talking about?
What'd you say, John?
That dark skinned man was clean. What you talking about?
I know that's right. Shout out for the dark skinned brothers. But no, seriously, no, man, look. I know where he's coming from, this thing, and that's all good. In 2023, you know, it's kind of hard to sit there and let your woman afford to stay home. Average man can't do that. They just can't. It's unfortunate, but they just can't. So they need their woman to work. Now, if the man's willing and he can work 2 jobs and let the woman stay home if that's the case. Now, only reason I would do that because I want my wife to homeschool my kids. That'd be the only reason why I do it. Of course, I don't have no young kids. My son is just graduated last year from high school. He's on to college, so I don't have that problem no more. But if I was an individual who had kids or young kids, I probably would, you know, be willing to work the 2nd or 3rd job if need be in order for that to happen. But there's going to have to be a lot of conversations because I said before on La People Sunday, ladies, you may not have that much quality time with me. You may not get them date nights on Saturday because I may need that Saturday to rest because I'm working 2 jobs during the week and maybe having a job on the weekend in order to take care of our good middle class home. Even a middle class home is going to cost a nice amount. Food done went up, gas went up, utilities done went up. You know, if you decide we need cable or internet, that's all gone up. There's nothing cheap no more. So I'm gonna need my opportunities to rest. I ain't gonna have time to go out on too many date nights. You know what I'm saying? So I got to be more strategize and how to take care of myself. And you want me here? I mean, I got to at least be here to make this money, and I got to be healthy enough to make this money. I got to make sure I get my proper rest whenever I can. So that means that may cut into our date nights. Are you okay with that? Are you willing to make that sacrifice? Now, if you're not, I understand. Then, baby, I need for you to go hit the clock. I need for you to go hit the clock.
Listen, you know, if I can go after you right real quick. First of all, Les Brown is in his 70s, and he's a multi-millionaire. So his perspective is skewed, just like Hank said. You know, and if I was in that kind of position, you know, I wouldn't need my wife to work either. So he sounded it's a little bit disingenuous because it's not something that's sustainable by the average man or woman for that matter. And if you're talking about working 3 jobs, let me also tell you that your woman won't give you any quarter if you're working 3 jobs, because if she needs some of your couch time, she's still going to demand that. You know, and she's not going to care that your ass is out there busting your hump. You know, she's not. I mean, I've heard too many women say that. They're not necessarily bad women. Women, you know, I had an argument with a woman who said she was traditional. She still was upset that if her guy was working too much and she had to take on too much of the kids, instead of saying, hey, to the kids, hey, your dad is doing all this so we can live where we want. She said, but he should still, you know, do this with the kids. You don't get no quarter, man. So the woman would have to acquiesce to the level of lifestyle you could provide if she wants to stay home. And then that's another thing they may not want, right? Because it's going to be a cut in lifestyle to what you could afford. You know, so you got to juggle all these things. Now, as a man, you might want to do all of that. And like I say, Hank, you said another thing. If she's going to be home, the one thing I can see her doing that's really worthwhile is homeschooling the kids. You know, for us to make that sacrifice, because that will be kind of woman that understands what you're doing when you go out to work. But I'm not that enamored with what Les is saying, even though I agree with him if you're at a certain level. I mean, I wasn't rich, but there was a time when I told my wife to come home. I said, listen, I can't have you coming home all disheveled. My house can't take, because I can't fix it. I can't go to your boss and beat his ass. Right? You know, so I need you to come home so we can have peace in the house. And if you can't do both of those things, just come home and I'll juggle it. She trusted me to do that, and that's what we did. You know, so
Now, you use this term quarter. Is that like a older word? What does
yeah.
that mean? I
Well, that's when I say a woman won't give you any question. She's not going to give you any relief of what she wants from you.
Gotcha.
That's what I meant by that. She's not going to give you any relief. If she needs a certain amount of couch time, you're tired as hell, or she wants you to be around the kids, and you have a double shift, 6 days a week, she's going to still have expectations other than you just busting your butt. And I'm not trying to say anything disparaged about a woman, but they still, I mean, for some reason, and maybe some women will sacrifice that and understand it, but I'm not so sure the majority of women will let you get away with it. I just don't think so. Not for the long term. I hope they would, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Right.
You have to have a lot of discussions on that one, and she got to really understand your sacrifice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to react to the video before I ask the question?
I
I
was
jump
gonna-
in.
Oh,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
you go ahead, brother. No, you go ahead, brother.
I appreciate it. So I think this is why a lot of women are confused too as well. This is part of the problem, right? You have another man telling other men how to run a household, right? Rather than that man saying, "Hey, you know what I mean? It's different ways that this can get achieved, right?" Instead of me looking at it at my level, I'm not going to be so cocky to tell another man, "Hey, you need to go do this, you need to go do that," right? Because he might got other plans that I didn't even much think about. You know what I'm saying? So it's and that's part of the problem where some of the ladies like, well, you're not doing what this guy's saying, so you're not a leader. Rather than them getting on board with his plan, and then they might can achieve more than this guy that's talking. You know what I'm saying? So it's and that's what we kind of gotta do. We gotta kind of get out of our own ego and saying, hey, if I'm not bringing everything, or I'm not everything for this woman type of deal, that I'm nothing. Rather than saying, hey, let's work as a team, right? Because women today, they have advantages that men don't, right? You can start a women-owned company right now, have your wife run it, you know what I mean, have her be the face of the business, and you run everything behind the scenes. You be getting government contracts, you can be getting all type of different advantages just because it's a woman-owned business. I never said this online, but I was in the trucking industry. I had a trucking company. Yeah, I had a trucking company before, right? And it was women winning contracts over my company because they were just a woman owned business, you know. So you gotta make sure you putting your own your best foot forward. So if that woman can get you that advantage, now you can be straight. You know what I mean? So you got to get out there. You got to fail. You got to be successful, and you got to take all that wisdom, try all different ways, because no matter what, in each different age group, it's going to be advantages for the males. Sometimes it's going to be advantages for the women, and you got to exploit them. You both are on the same team. So if my wife said, "Hey, you heard about this new thing that just came out? All right, let's jump on it." You know. So it's a lot of different things. A lot of older school men that's kind of screwing it up and stopping a lot of real relationships to come together because of their ego, or I got to be everything for this relationship, rather than, hey, let's work as a team. I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, right? You run your ideas through me. If your idea is better, I'm going with that. All right, cool, let's go. Rather than, we got to get out of the way of that stupid thinking.
Thank you.
I'll
JR,
jump
did you
in.
see that video? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nah, you go ahead. You go ahead, JR. I'm sorry, brother.
No, you go ahead. I'll go after you.
That's the definition of feminism for me. You know, if Nikki wanted to work tomorrow, I wouldn't say no. You know, and again, that's that controlling aspect that they want to try to create as us as husbands. But no, if she wanted to work tomorrow, she could. But at the same time, though, her degree is in early childhood education, and she is currently a stay-at-home mom who is a homeschool mom. So, you know, for me, again, it's those intangibles. You know, the modern women of today. We're not gonna say all. We don't want to offend anybody. We're not saying all. The modern women of today want, you know, degrees in underwater basket weaving, law, and all of the rest of that stuff that's not beneficial to the family. But early childhood education is, because if ever we become fortunate enough that you can stay home and take control of our children's education because they want to teach them about slavery and teach them about things outside of our people's character. And we don't have to do it the way they say. And, you know, unpopular to belief, homeschool curriculum is not hard at all to follow. And the level that these kids perform in, if you can't perform at that level or better, that says a lot about the person you had a baby by. So, you know, again, back to those intangibles and those things you should have been looking for instead of looking for a bag or looking for a big booty. But again, you know, I'm not saying big booties are not good. I love big booties. But at the same time, if she's not nice, like, she got to be nice. She got to be acquiescive. She has to be malleable. She has to be a lot of things other than just a big butt and some big boobies. Because again, that shit don't equal no blessing. And I ain't hear no man tell me why a big butt and big boobies equal a blessing. Because again, that's what we all chase. But I ain't never seen nobody say Aaliyah or Zendaya is somebody that they don't want. Like I said, I come from a different era. The girls that we fawned over, they were not voluptuous. So now to see these guys, you know, throw everything away, blame everything on these girls, chase after these girls, I feel you, big dog. I'm not mad at you. I would do the same thing, but I'm not going to pass over a girl that's amazing just because she ain't got no big boobs. And again, you know, I land my plane.
All right, JR.
I had a question. I was having a conversation with a young lady, and she said that she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. You know, that's what she preferred to do. And one of the things that I asked her, I said, well, what are you going to do in your free time if you don't have children? And so she told me that today's women don't understand what a stay-at-home wife all entails. And I want to ask y'all, is it something that I'm missing with the stay-at-home wife besides her being able to make sure the man is good and make sure the kids is good if the kids are in the house? What else is it for her to do?
You saying no kids in the house?
Well, I mean, maybe the child might be in the house, but even if you did have kids in the house, like what else is it that she
Curate.
does?
Curate.
Because I never did.
Schedule my doctor's appointment, schedule my physicals, schedule, anything that appointments around the house, anything that would make my life easier so that she can so I can run the house so the house can be provided for. If it's if I need her to schedule the car or the oil maintenance, the maintenance of the car, she might take it in for me if I can't get off work in time. Anything that with my life scheduled, I think that's what a wife would do.
Okay, so all that take about an hour.
No,
I'm sorry, say that again. Hey, JR.
No, I was just saying that all that take about an hour. Let's just say she did all that, the kids taken care of. Like, what else is she gonna do?
I would say create a business for her, honestly. Like, you have to put her to work, because a lot of times, a lot of women think they want to be at home until they're at home, right? And then now they mind is racing, and they got going crazy and stuff like that. And this would happen with my first wife, and because she was a stay at home, and you know what I mean, she was taking care of the kids, and once everything else was done, she was just on YouTube. And then when I come home, she looking at me all crazy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was, you know, like she was just basically, you know what I mean, like thinking about all these dumb negative thoughts and stuff like that. But I was too young. I was 19 at the time. So I wasn't mature enough to see kind of, okay, I need to make sure she's doing something, make sure she's busy, make sure she has something to think about. And that was one of the mistakes I made. And that could have basically helped her out to kind of think more clearly, because if you leave a lot of these people, men or women, to themselves and not working and not doing anything, they'll go crazy. Just being real with you.
Well, so JR, to your point, yeah, all the stuff I listed probably take about an hour, but I was only saying stuff generic because, for example, if I'm a guy that owns a business, then she would actually help me run my business too as well. So I was only saying things that would just be generic to every single man, because I'm not sure every single man runs a business or not, though. But one thing that she would do, would be, of course, to keep the house
I like that.
clean, food
I'm
cooked, that
glad
kind
that.
of stuff.
I like to add too. One of the things is funny. It's just funny. I'll never forget this. When I was in high school, we had a Regents history, and one of the questions on the exam was, what is the importance of leisure time? And they were trying to get to what happens if a person has leisure time and no direction
Mm.
and things of that nature. And
Mhm.
here I am, 65. I haven't forgotten that question. It was like a major part of the exam, you
Mm.
know. And so one of the things that I think, like James mentioned, if you're gonna have a stay-at-home wife or husband for that man, but that's a whole nother story. But a stay-at-home wife, right? That a
Mm.
stay-at-home wife, that's got to be a part of your discussion on what she's going to be doing with that time before it happens,
Yep.
right? That's got to be part of the discussion, right? If y'all have children, it looks like A. And after you take care of the kids, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to do to improve your life? If you don't have any children and she doesn't have to work and you're allowing her not to work to fill that void, that's going to look like something else. But it has to be discussed, and there's got to be a way to measure what her progress is, right? It has to be a way to measure whether she's actually accomplishing what you agreed to, so she's just not sitting around. And it's a great discussion to have, because because you have to. One of the things that I think about is when I retired, there were so many people, and I'm gonna not be too long, of people who've been working 30 something, 40 years, and they were all used to. I got this question a lot. What are you gonna do if you don't have to work? What are you gonna do now that you're retired? What are you gonna do with that time? And I used to tell people, I said, listen, if you don't have anything to fill that void, then you're missing it. Then you're missing it, right? Because I'm saying my mind is going to expand to fill that time void. There's nothing more important to me than that when I retired, that I got my 50 hours a week back. And if you get to that point and you don't know what you're going to do, I think that shit's sad. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it might be, I said you should be looking at the world like your oyster. What am I going to do with all this time? Now I got introduced to this YouTube stuff, and it fills time. But I manage some portfolios. I do a few other things that I do. I talk to people. I manage my family tree. I've got new births and all this kind of stuff. And I fill the void. I write. And I do my crazy videos on my whatchamacallit. I think they're pretty good. My thumbnails are pretty damn good. Anyway, but
what?
So that's the key. It has to be a discussion with what she's going to do with that time, and it's got to be a way to measure. And it's really not that complicated. It's just that people need to think about it ahead of time and just don't just walk and try to make.
I want to jump in. I want to
Yeah.
jump in, Arpain. What I'm gonna say, brother Jr. is she curates my home, and like my other brother said, the day-to-day things, the making sure the home smells good, welcoming and peaceful, and so on and so forth. But again, she homeschools my children. She makes them understand the importance of their dad, of a man in the home. She absolutely points out the difference in our approach, the difference in our style, but particularly she shows them what I'm up against. She shows them the bills. She shows them what I bring in, and how this man goes out, because they think we do nothing. They think we go out, we come home, we sit, we drink a beer, we watch the game. What do daddy do? So, it's on us to make sure, again, we're picking women that are instilling values and morals in our children. And on top of the homeschooling, on top of the appreciation for men, I have a 23-year-old, an 18-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So all girls. So, again, seeing that she shows them the value of men, that sometimes we don't see eye to eye, that sometimes men do speak loud, they do have an aggressive tone. All of these things are valuable, and all of these things show up in the day to day. So, I get the answers that the brothers give, but for me, it's curation. This woman curates my home in so many different ways. She produced my children. She has my best interests at heart. I analogize it as a lawyer. A lot of people have a legal aid. I got a lawyer. She gonna ask the pertinent questions. She ain't signing no DNAs. She wants to know because she has my best interests at heart. And I think that's the difference. That's what a wife that is organic is different from, you know, a girlfriend liaison, entanglement, or whatever these, you know, people are calling it nowadays. But that's the difference.
So
Ooh.
King, would you say that that is an expectation that you have?
No, that's something that I recognized in her. Again, you know, she walked up to me, JR. I didn't chase after her.
Okay.
So, you know, it was a time where
Uh,
there's a
I
scale,
mean,
and once I
I
see
mean,
what
no,
she put into me, it's
yeah.
time for me to start paying back.
Well, I don't mean with her, but just as a wife that wants, well, as a woman that wants to be a stay-at-home wife, is that an expectation that you have as far as what she does?
Overall, yes. Overall,
You
yes.
do have expectations.
Overall, I mean, from that approach, maybe I may look at it from a different approach and come at it from a different approach. But overall, absolutely, absolutely, I see what you're saying.
So, well, let me say this: there's got to be a lot of hard, real, straight up conversations. If that's what she wants to do, especially we don't have no kids to tend to or take care of or do anything with, right? There's got to be some conversations because eventually a man's going to get tired and he sees his wife and certain things are not done and not, he's going to feel some type of way. So there's some conversation definitely going to have to be had in this situation. What if the economy's like what it is now and start to get bad? And baby girl, are you willing to go back to work if I need you to? That's got to be one of the first conversation I need to have. I'm okay with you if you won't stay home. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with doing what I need to do. If that means I need to take a few hours, if that means, you know, maybe our date nights are not like twice a week, maybe you're down to one date night a week. You know what I'm saying? We may not get to go to the nicest restaurant, maybe once a month, where we used to go maybe 3 times a month. Are you willing on doing it and making those sacrifices? What if we're down to not down to the nicest car that money could buy? We gonna got a modest car. Now we both driving Toyotas. Are you driving in a minivan? Are you okay with that? Are you willing to accept those things? Now, if you're willing to accept those things, I'm willing to, you know, work, do what I need to do, take an extra shift or two and work a little overtime on a Saturday or Sunday if need be on call and get that extra money. Or if I had to get a second job, a part-time job, you know, maybe a bartender or do some work at Home Depot, you know what I'm saying, restocking shelves or something. I don't know. Work a part-time job to make sure we got at least what we got. We maintain in this nice upper middle class home. These are the conversations that needs to be had with a wife if that's going to happen. Like I said, are you willing to go back to work if financially it gets to that point? I need to hear yes, or you cannot, or you will not be a stay-at-home woman. I'm not hiring a cleaning service, man. I expect you be the cleaning service. I'm not hiring somebody to do anything in this house to cook or we're not door dashing because I'm gonna expect that my wife is going to take care of all of those necessary things because those are first of all those are money we're spending on unnecessary stuff we don't because that means I got to take on another couple hours at work in order to pay for these cleaning service or this food service. No, we're not doing that because it's part of the agreement you agreed to as you being a stay-at-home wife who's not taking care of no kids. You just make sure our home is safe and sound and well in order. I'm gonna expect you to make them phone calls that I need to make you. Now, are you going to be willing to work for somebody else or are you going to be willing to work for me? Because pretty much you have a job. That is your job. I know some men don't feel like being a housewife is a job. It is. It may be an unappreciative, underpaid job, but it's still a job. Now, are you going to work for me or are you going to go work for Mr. Charlie? Which one do you want to do?
Man,
All
I was
right,
gonna,
all right.
I was gonna say this kind of remind me of that Bobby Womack song. If you think you're lonely now, because a lot of
Wait until tonight. Okay.
because they want us to get like extra jobs and stuff like that, right? They want us to get one job, two job, and then what I mean. And then now when you away from home, they were like, she always complaining, I've never been home, but when I'm there, I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of made me think of this song when y'all was talking. I mean, that was funny. Because they want us to work all these jobs, but if we're not there, now we're not spending enough time. So just make sure you got that balance in your household.
I mean, we talked about that on LaPeak for Sunday, Jay. You remember that we talked about that. I think you made a clip on it. Matter of fact, I think about balancing and having that. Ladies, we're gonna have to make some certain sacrifice. If you're willing to do that sacrifice and accept that sacrifice, then guess what? We more like we can make this thing work. But if you're not, we're gonna have to look at other alternatives.
That reminded me of Erin off of 8 at the Table. I don't know if you guys ever have watched any of their content, but she had made a video about a housewife and then like a woman of leisure, and she's like, well, a woman of leisure don't do the things that housewives do. And to me, that's a different tier of woman. A woman of leisure is literally, to me, with a millionaire, and this man is off doing what he doing, and he just has so much money that you're now just attached to that, and you're able to do whatever you want to do. And even things like that, I believe, you still have to earn your way, in that type of role, unless this man just don't care about giving up his money. And he may, you you might just be the flavor of the week. He might just trade you out for another one next week. So, but to me, a woman of leisure, it's a certain type of entitlement that she feels like she has to this man and his money. I think that a woman who wants, I think all women probably want to be stay-at-home women. Women don't want to work, right? However, when you think about marriage and you think about being with someone, you have to understand that there's a level of sacrifice that you're going to have to display. And being at home, like I said, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but it didn't start off that way. And even when she was a stay-at-home mom, it was work. It was work, having 2 kids, getting us to practice, getting us to wherever we needed, our extracurricular activities. So a stay-at-home mom is way more than just staying at home. And I think Mr. He said it, but I'm working all day and you don't have no food ready. No, James said it. You on YouTube, you really not bringing any value. So it's like, why are you staying home? Why do I have you here, taking up space if you really not going to bring any value to this space? So, I think that when women say that in 2023, it's like what Arpain said, like, what are you bringing to the table? What value do you have?
So another thing I made me think about especially when I raising my kids, I do a lot of community stuff in the community, organizing stuff, and a lot of what my wife does, she organizes that stuff for me. I come up with ideas, and she does all the planning for it. So it's like, so when I do coat drives or food feeding the homeless, or we do volunteer work in the community, anything that I want to do, she does all the legwork for it. So that's something that's part of it. Once a man has a vision of what he has for his life, he passes some of that legwork onto her too as well. So it's not just sitting at home.
Yeah. I think a man should have something to do for his woman. I think his woman should work for her. Period.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah,
King said, you going out to work and you giving Mr. Charlie, all your time and all your obedience and all your submission, and then you come home and you treat me like I'm nothing. It's a bad deal for a man.
And I think that's let me just say that I think that's a man's fault too. I really think. I think if you allow those things to happen, that's kind of your fault, right? I mean, sometimes you got to nip these things in the bud. You can't, that's where the understanding has to come in, and it's two-sided. If I was doing something wrong or I was missing something, I would expect my wife to be able to talk to me so I can make the corrections I need to. But she has to be able to do that as well. And one thing I said before, if she's blessed enough that she doesn't have to work a traditional job, that doesn't mean she could just be a woman of leisure. And even if I was a multi-millionaire, I wouldn't allow my wife to do that either. I just wouldn't. Because if I was that successful, there would be something in one of my businesses or whatever that I'd have her doing.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, JR, man.
No, I was just gonna say one of the other important things to highlight too is how much of a sacrifice it is to be a parent, and I don't think a lot of people parent the way that they should or have an understanding of it, because we rely on a lot of this technology, but we should be putting a lot of time and effort into our children. And I've been guilty of that. Like, I think a real parent, somebody that's been 10 toes in and actually doing what they're supposed to do, even if you're homeschooling, you should be top tier. Like, your child should be doing everything. You should be communicating with your child. You should be having them in activities. You should be supportive. It's one of those things that it's a true sacrifice in order for them to benefit from it. And I think that you being a great parent is going to be one of those things that make a difference as far as building a better Black community, because we always want to focus on everything else. And I always say you got to take care of what's in your house first and then hope for the best, because you already and gave your life up once you brought them children in here. So everything else is really a sacrifice. All the extra stuff that we want to do, you don't have to do it. That's just something you want to do, but your obligation is in the house. And so if the man is out there providing, then you should be learning how to be a better parent. Because if you got too much time on your hands while you have kids in the house, then it just says you ain't doing enough. Because kids is like a 24/7. You should be exhausted by the end of the day because you ain't just poured that much into those damn kids.
Mhm.
Can I piggyback something though? And I know maybe this is for the audience. And I agree with JR. One of the things that I did when I was a little older when I had my kids, so our house was pretty stable. And one of the things me and the wife talk about is that we're not going to change the ambience of our house for our kids. The kind of noise that we made, we continue to do those kind of things, music, TV, whatever. And we wanted to adjust the kids to the way we normally live. So we didn't have to be silent because we were worried about them sleeping and all that. So they adjusted to our lifestyle. And that was one. The other thing is, one of our goals was to have our girls be able to read as early as they could and not be afraid of math. Right. So those two things we did. So we bought all the toys and gadgets to do the cards and all that kind of stuff. And we spent time doing that, like JR said. So they were always, ahead of the curve, doing that kind of stuff. And I didn't think it was that much time to do it. My wife did it, and so did I. And another thing, we didn't allow people to talk baby talk to our kids. Right? So when people came over, none of this goo goo gaga shit, man. Just talk to the kid as if you think she can understand you.
Mm-hmm. Because
And so we did those simple kind of things. And it's maybe not a big deal, but I think it paid off, right? Because the kids, you talking to the little kid like they know what they're talking about, but it worked out. So I mean, it wasn't a lot of major stuff. We just got into the habit of doing those things. And as a kid, and then what I did when they went to school, I made sure they had a space to study, desk, light, quiet in the area so they could sit down and do their homework. And so there's just like simple things that if you are preemptive, they're just prepared. And I think part of that for me was I was a little older. So my kids didn't have to grow up with me trying to worry about where the money was coming from and this and that. I was 34 with the first one and I was 41 with the second. So my house was pretty stable.
Penny, you can't be out there having loud sex and hanging on the ceiling fan like you used to though with them babies, man.
He said, y'all gonna get this work.
Man. Yeah, well, by the time I was 41, I think I'd have been pulling down one of them chandeliers,
Woo. Say, go in there and study your multiplication cards. We'll be out here studying.
No,
Thank
but
you, thank you.
For whatever that's worth, I just thought I'd throw that
I
out there.
definitely
For
agree
everybody
with
out
all that you said, Arpain. Your kids definitely shouldn't come in the way of your marriage. You should definitely have them studying in a quiet area. Those little things make a big difference because as they get older, they'll say to themselves, "I need a desk. I need a study space. I need that." I know that was me. But that was instilled inside of me when I was younger. When I was in college, it was like, I can't do it in my dorm room. I have to go to the library. I have to go somewhere where I'm, focused. So, those tidbits were great. Last video, guys, we're still in the For Richer or Poor wedding vow series. So if you're just joining, thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button as you come in. So the last video we're going to get into is with Tyrese. I actually just saw this right before we came on live, so I thought I'd just throw it in here. But he's saying that Samantha Lee is doing what she's doing as a money grab. So we're going to get into this video.
That are actually in abusive relationships and fucked up marriages that are toxic and dark and dysfunctional. That's not what that was. You think I would have a song entitled I Don't Think You Ever Loved Me if I didn't really feel that way? You think I would have a song out called Love Transaction if I didn't realize that it was never love, it was just a transaction? This shit is about money. You've hired 3 law firms trying to fucking suck me dry. I'm approaching $1 million in legal fees, and we had a prenup. You already tried to ask me to come back. You already tried to reconcile. I told you I was in a relationship with Zelly, and I was not willing to go and break this off or cut this woman off because you decided to wake up on a Wednesday and come back and play in the sandbox. Everything about the way you left me was heartless. It was evil. You never considered me, your marriage, and let alone your innocent 1-year-old child. She had to celebrate her 2nd birthday apart. And if you really are really suddenly caring about the effects that you've had on me and your family, why don't you sit these fucking lawyers off of me? Call your lawyers right now and tell them that everything that you're still trying to get right now, you don't want it no more.
So what do you guys think about that? Some of you may have heard Samantha Lee and her coming out saying that she had the wrong people around her. She didn't have the right friends, and that's why she made the decision that she made. And now Tyrese is coming out. Y'all know Tyrese is not a stranger, okay? He will tell us how he feels. He's coming out saying, hey, look, I mean, if that was the case, why you have 3 lawyers coming after me? If you knew that you pretty much did wrong, if you knew that, you were the one in the wrong in the situation, why are you still trying to come after me for, whatever assets, money, whatever the case may be? And then on top of that, put our daughter in the most compromising, situation you can. What do you guys think about that?
He talks. Oh, you said King or Hank?
Hank.
Okay. Look, Precious, we talked. Jr. knows we talked about this yesterday. We went over that, and I said it then. I think it's a money grab. I think she's got a book coming out at the end of 2024. And then I said towards the end, once I heard a little bit more information, Tyree, don't. If she come at you, man, you turn her away. Don't try to get back with her. She don't mean you no good. I think she misses the popularity. I think she misses being in the limelight. I think she wants that back. I think, like she said, maybe she did have a come to Jesus moment and woke up in reality that she had some trash ass friends that she listened to. Maybe even some family members was probably part of that trash ass circle, and she got some advice from them and went through and did what she did. But at the end of the day, you made the decision. I don't care what your trash ass family or friends said. You made the final decision to file that paperwork. You made the decision to end your family. You made this decision, so now you got to sleep with it. Now, for him asking to call the lawyers, oh brother, no. Let me tell you, she might get a fourth law firm, brother.
Mm.
She might even triple down now. I mean, you now you publicly trying to humiliate her, and we know Tyrese, like you said, is not stranger of speaking his mind. Oh yeah, she's finna run you all the way in. She's not worried about that prenup. I think they're in California, so they got different laws and rules out there as far as them. So you in it for the long haul. You're gonna hit that million mark. Please believe that you're gonna hit that million mark, and I say nothing but the best luck. Now I don't know about you already in a whole new relationship. Not too long after the divorce, I thought maybe you should take some time to get yourself mentally right, to get yourself emotionally right, because you're not doing nothing to me but carrying that same baggage you had with this woman to the next relationship, and that's not healthy, especially for that new woman. She don't deserve that. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't deserve it at all, and your child don't deserve that. Because right now, what you're doing, you putting this shit out there. Your kid 2 or 3 or 4 years from now could be shown that while she's at school, or watch one of her family members. Look how your daddy talked about your mama. You don't want to bring that type of energy to the family. So to me, they're both still being selfish. They're still both being inconsiderate, especially for the well-being of the child. They seem like they don't care about the child that much because they probably wouldn't be trying to at least make it public, try to keep it out as public as least as possible. I know it's going to be a public situation because he's a celebrity and all that, but try to not to say as much. That's one thing I didn't do, and I don't do is I didn't take me going through my divorce and I didn't spew it all on Facebook or social media. Y'all probably seen some relationships spewed all over social media. They let everybody know the business. Yeah, we didn't. I got family members still just now finding out that I'm divorced, and I've been divorced since 2016.
Wow.
I don't say anything. I don't put it all out there like that. No, I don't do that. I say, oh, my wife did this and she drug. I didn't put no post like that. No, what we went through, we went through, and then I went from there. Another thing, getting back to what we talked about with I think Jay was talking about with being the kids and being the parents and being involved with them. That's one thing I did for my son. I made sure I missed out on overtime money. I missed out on extra shifts and money here and there at events because my son had a goal that he wanted to do, and he wanted to play AAU ball during the summer. I sacrificed some summers. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get to go on a week-long trip. We had to make a 3-day trip in order to accommodate him in his AAU season. But I said at the end of the day, it's only going to be temporary. You know what I'm saying? He's got 4 years of high school, and then he's going to move on to college. And then that's that. And now I'm still doing the same sacrifice because I'm going to be at every home game that I can. I'm going to be every road game that I'm available to be at, and I will be there to support him. Why? Because that's my son. I did that for my daughter, and if my granddaughter decided to do in whatever event she decides to do, I'll be there for her. Why? I love them, and I ain't got no goddamn life. So there you are.
They are your life. huge part of your life anyway.
I know that's
All right. Anybody else want to react to this video of
Yeah, I jump in. Tyrese, all's fair in love and war, dog. I'm not a fan of Baby Boy. I'm not gonna lie to you because his demeanor, the way he runs social media with all of this nonsense is.
Uh-oh. You muted out.
Yeah, you dropped out.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I got 2 mute buttons. Yeah, he married a woman that was an opportunist, surprise. This is exactly what we've been talking about for the whole show. The intangibles, the people that knew you before you was Tyrese. Like, this is your choices, dog. You the one that wanted her. It was a lot of girls that knew you in high school back when you ain't had nothing, but those girls ain't good enough for these people. And he get what he get, man. I'm not a fan of Tyrese, the decisions that he make, the way he depicts himself, the way he waves his flag for us as men. Nah, I'm not a fan. I'm more of a fan of the statement that JR made. Precious. That's what we wave our flag on. being conscious parents, because
Mhm.
once they come here, it's not about you no more. And
Right.
again, we are unapologetic about our stance, and us saying shame on y'all whack ass parents, shame on y'all selfish ass parents, to understand that these children are the future. And like Whitney said, if you teach them, they'll do right. She said more than just they the future. The second verse after that is that you got to teach them what to do. And if we just saying it depends, and I can't say nothing about that, and you ain't got no right, yeah, y'all do that over there. We don't do that over here. You've been judged your whole life. Somebody graduated valedictorian. They was first in your class. You get a monthly, quarterly evaluation at work. You being judged the whole time of your life, whether people want to tell you they is or not. But again, we wave our flag the way we wave it, and we unapologetic about it. I'm one half of He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance. I'm Mr. He Said, and we here 3 times a week with original content. So check us out while y'all checking out the people who react to reactions to reactions. Boom.
Yes, yes, yes. Follow everyone that is on the
Yeah,
panel. I
John, you
appreciate
want
you
to
guys.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in.
Mhm.
First of all, Tyrese is an example of a man who marries for love.
Mhm.
That he's so emotional about everything, and the fact that he has another girlfriend now is just it's crazy because there was one
Yes, that
before
is.
that, and she was talking about how she wanted the white boy right on live, right? So he doesn't know how to pick women. And one of the things I want to say is that men of means and men in general, we need to start to practice a form of male hypergamy. We need to start marrying women of more equally yoked to where we are in life, both financially and educationally, so we can have a little bit more trust that we're together in some kind of thing. So I don't have to be as paranoid that she just wants to leave with all my stuff. This lady Samantha was like levels beneath it, levels. And even though I kind of believe the fact that she wasn't ready, she said her family, her therapist, and her friends told her to leave him, and they were all
Mhm.
in her ear. Now, part of it was that I don't know if whether he was in tune that she was talking to these people to begin with. Hey, you can't be taking advice from people like that with a 1 or 2-year-old. And so, I hear him. And the thing about his prenup, the lead attorney did an excellent deep dive on where the part of his prenup that went wrong and how
Mm.
they had an arbiter involved, and that arbiter made a ruling that opened his prenup up where the judge didn't have a choice. And because of the way they had the prenup worded,
Mm.
so it wasn't that the prenup failed, it wasn't properly written. So, and a lawyer made a mistake. So all I'm just trying to say is, so he's opened up to that. So he should just be trying to settle this thing for whatever it is, take his hit and kind of move on, because it's damaging him as a man. And, so she wants 20 grand a month, right? So what's that, $240,000 a year, which he has. And he's going to have to pay for the kid for 20 years or whatever. So it's going to cost him a little pretty penny, 2, 3, 4, $5 million over the course of those years. I would just do a cost estimate so I could move on, or he should be fighting for full custody.
Mm.
I would, that would be my counterattack, fighting for full custody. If I'm going to throw some money, I'd rather do that. But anyway, so he's brought a lot of this stuff on himself. And the fact he's into another relationship just kind of tells me he's an idiot. He's an idiot, and he's getting that. And I wouldn't be surprised that in 5 months from now, that chick is going to be looking for a piece of his butt, and he'll be crying on the internet again and all this kind of stuff. I mean, he's the one guy, and he just kind of just forget about and swear off the box for a couple of months. Just no, put the finger, well, I don't know. He's an idiot. Yeah, anyway. I don't feel sorry for him. She got taken advantage of, but you know what? Join the crowd. There's a lot of rich men that women are beating down like that. So you're not alone. go commiserate with Kevin Costner. He's paying $63,000 a month.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Oh.
So I really didn't have a question to this one. It just flowed with our theme tonight, you know, for richer or poorer. And they were married. They're now divorced. They're in, you know, litigation court with their prenup and everything, going back and forth with it. But Tyrese pretty much thinks that Samantha coming out and telling her side of the story about their marriage and how she blames the people that were in her corner for her making the decision that she made. He's pretty much saying this is a money grab, you know. You just want to see me down and out instead of admitting that you truly wanted to be here, you asked to be here, you wanted to come back, but yet now you have 3 lawyers who are trying, you know, to win this case.
And what does Samantha Lee do for a living?
Well, she is, you know, of course, media personnel, but she's actually a therapist. I was surprised when I found out that, you know, she was a therapist for a living, and this is what's going on in her life. And I always say the therapist need a therapist, right? The pastor need a pastor. Like, just because you are in those professions don't mean that you don't need that wise counsel yourself. But it was surprising because I didn't even know she was married to Tyrese. I've always seen her Instagram, you know, side by side videos. I've never watched her content ever, but that, you know, that content. But I did learn that she's a therapist, and I was very much surprised that, you know, her allowing her friends that were not supportive of her marriage get in the way of her staying with her husband.
So listening to Tyrese speak, and over the years hearing him speak, he does what emotional men tend to do, and he did tend to think with emotion versus the logic. But because he spoke with emotion and logic versus logic, and he was very passionate, I tend to think he's speaking the truth too as well. He just didn't. I don't think he handled it the right way. And what I've noticed from the video is that most men understand that when their woman or the people in their circle are listening to the wrong voices. And part of being a man is trying to figure out or understanding how to make sure that your people in your family they have the right people around them, so they don't get the bad information that ruins your family, because whoever your wife is connected to is actually also connected to you. And so they're going to make your life more difficult. So although he's very speaking with a lot of emotion, I think he's speaking the truth. He just handling the wrong way. I think that she is doing it for a money grab. I think she wants to come back because she now sees that, okay, I listen to my girlfriends, they put in a bad position, and now I can't live this lifestyle anymore. Instead, the only way I can live this lifestyle, I got to be attached to Tyrese, because I can't do it myself. I can't do it away from him. So I think she's trying to fight to get back into that circle, but realizes that he's not going to let me back in. So I have to double down with lawyers now to get this lifestyle, because I can't do it without him. But the thing is, she's ruining the cash cow. She's ruining the relationship in the process. And so, although I think he spoke a lot of emotion, I think some truth to what he said.
Sure. I was gonna say, honestly, it seemed like to me that she's showing fake accountability.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So she's trying to make it seem like she's sad, or she's, you know what I mean, oh, she messed up. She was listening to these people rather than her saying it was the money grab, which would basically was. You know, she knows she's not going to find another man on his level, because being on his level is going to watch how she did him, and they're going to be like, nah, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, sis. Even though you're doing all these videos talking about relationships and stuff, and you not living that life, why would I put myself in danger to be with you when I could just go get somebody else, right? You know, and then she possibly trying to get back with him too, because once you divorce, right? Say if Tyrese not thinking about doing another prenup if they got back together. So now if they would have got married again, now that old prenup is out of the window, unless they had got another one written up. And then you know what I mean, she could have divorced him again and then took half of his money rather than just, you know what I mean, having them paying all his little fees and getting the child support. You know what I mean? So I think it was she was trying to get it at different angles. And guys, you just gotta be strategic if you at that level, you got that money, you got to make sure you're protecting yourself and making sure all the wording is right, just so you won't be in a situation like him. You know what I mean? Because even though he got her to sign, because he was talking about the lawyers was like, wow, how did you get her to sign this type of deal? But it's still, they found a loophole still for him to be able to have to pay the court fees. And no man want to be in court. You know what I mean? So a lot of times guys would just, all right, I'll just kowtow, let her get what she want. Oh, she can get the house. I'll get tired of paying court fees and all this blah, 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 rather than them find it. You know, so I think it's she was coming at different angles trying to get him. And she understands no man is going to give her that lifestyle no more, especially if they know the case and they know Tyrese and know how that situation going. And the divorce was filed in 2020. I had just looked it up because I didn't know. So it's been a couple of years, you know what I mean? So that's probably why he dating now. But he gotta make sure he's mentally ready, man. So I think that's what most of the brothers was talking about, him not being mentally stable to get into a relationship.
I was just gonna say, I think it's gonna be hard for him to get into any relationship, especially a man of his caliber. I think he should have known. Sad to say, but he should have known the potential. It's hard to date when you got that much money like that, man. And even the woman that he's with, she probably seen how gullible he was and how emotional he is, and somebody could be preying on him right now. So it's just one of those things. That's why I say if I ever become a millionaire, a billionaire, I want to be a silent millionaire, billionaire. I don't want to be out there. I don't want nobody to know anything about me. But unfortunately, with social media, it'll probably be hard to hide it. But it's just one of those things. You just got to try to find somebody young. You know, look at LeBron James and Savannah. You know, look at some of the other people. They just sticking with the people who they were with in high school. And they could still have a motive, because a lot of times you can't see the potential, but you got a better chance there than to be trying to date somebody new. I can't really see anybody. It may be somebody out there, but it's going to be real hard to actually see their true colors with him having that much money, fame, and access to who knows what.
To your point, JR, it's kind of hard for people like LeBron and Tyree because they've been famous since they was kids. We know Tyree started out as a young guy on the bus taking for Coca-Cola, right? So I mean, I think he was a teenager then, and LeBron's a phenom since he was like maybe 13, 14 years old. I mean, how do you grow up in the spotlight as a young man? You come up in a undeveloped community, undeveloped families. You don't have a role model as a dad. I'm assuming for Tyrese too, because I don't know a lot about his childhood. But how do you, as a young man, grow up and turn into a man without having a man show you how to do it, and you got millions of dollars in your pocket? How do you expect for women to take advantage of you? You're actually vulnerable to the world.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're only as vulnerable as you make yourself, man. Practice. Just like he go to basketball practice, he could go to bitch get off me practice.
Oh.
That's, again, we give men these scapegoats, but
Well, first of all, I didn't
no,
hear. Okay,
you
listen
gotta
to what I
practice.
said.
You
Listen
have
to
to
what I said.
practice. I heard what you
didn't give
said.
a.
I'm sitting here. What are you talking
I
about? I'm
gave.
grown. I'm sitting here.
I said, how do you tell a young boy who doesn't know anything about the world? How do you expect a young boy to know about the world?
By loving himself. He know he love himself. He don't want to be taken advantage of. He know he's a high school phenom. He know that there's sack chasers out here. So, or you want to play the plausible deniability card. He know he's a phenom, but he don't know that there's sack chasers of phenoms.
I'm not sure if you comprehend what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. Here's the thing. Practice, fellas. Practice saying no. Practice how to move in a room full of hoes. You can say no, fellas. You don't have to fall in everyone that offers it to you. I know it's not easy. I know, but you can do it. And until we start to change the narrative, change the mindset, change the scapegoats, you're going to get the same results that you get. Fellas, love yourself. Practice saying no. If you don't really like her, don't splash. Because if you splash off in her, you gonna have a baby, and it's a whole nother box you could sit in and talk your talk. So again, have some discipline, have some love for self. If it's not easy, find a mentor, find somebody to help you. Think about baseball. But again, don't play that plausible deniability with me. You may be able to do it with John the Baptist, but you can't with me.
Hey,
So,
you know what? Let me
Mr.
just
He
finish
said,
up before you go on though. Let me just say that LeBron is an excellent example of what Mr. He said is saying. Because in his whole career, I can't really see where he made a mistake anywhere. And people try to put that whole going to Miami thing on him. I thought he was a yeoman then too. I don't agree with the narrative they try to play. This guy's career has been stellar. And you know why? Because he's had men who mentored him. We just don't know who they are. Because he was playing ball. Every team had a coach. Every place he had a man in there. And regardless of how wild his mother was, he somehow held it together. And I can't see one misstep with this dude, man. He's uncanny, and a beacon for any man who's on his grind like that. And I think I hope somebody should write some kind of book on how he did it.
Everybody ain't 8'8". That's why.
It'd be nice if his wife wrote the book. That'd be cool. But it's like being married to LeBron James.
She might. I hope not though, because then it becomes a tell-all thing. And somehow, what's the secret?
And
Yeah.
you got to be 8'8". You got to be 8 feet tall. That's why. That's what made him get there. I want to be next to him. That's all the men said. He going somewhere.
All righty. Did everyone react to this? We are getting to we're approaching final thoughts. Did everyone react to Tyrese and his money grab approach to this whole situation that Samantha Lee is getting herself in?
Well, look, I agree with Mr. He said when he said you got to learn how to say no. Look, I said it before. I told my mother no. I told my mother no, mama. I can't afford to get this. Exactly. So if you could tell your own mother no, shit ain't every other woman don't have to stand a snowball chance in hell. They don't stand a snowball chance in hell. Shit. Y'all just asked that. You ain't getting shit from me. Hell no. So I have no problem with saying no. My ex, well, she hated and then my new lady, she said, I think you just like saying no, just tell me no. I said, you damn right. You damn right. No, you ain't getting this. We're not doing this. We're not going there. We're not buying this. No, we're not. But I'm thinking beyond this. Now I'm looking at the price tag. That's just me just thinking logically. It's not worth it. It's a bad investment. As I like to say, it's a bad investment. And exactly. I'm all about trying to make the best investments I can to make our money grow. So if that's not going to help it grow, we ain't going to make that investment. We're going to move in a different direction. So no, young men need to learn how to say no to certain things, especially when it's some things is not going to be beneficial in the long run. They could possibly hurt them, could cost them their freedom or their life. They need how to say no. And it might be your best friends. It could be your teammates. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it could be a parent or family member. And it could be that young lady that makes you feel icky inside. You got to learn how to say no and be okay and stand on it. Don't waver. Stand on it.
So I want to go back and address the issue of Mr. He said what he's actually addressed. You actually kind of agree with exactly what I was saying, because I asked the question, how do like LeBron James and Tyree, how do they learn? And you saying, well, you have to learn by saying no, which means no comes with experience, which only comes with life and living and having these life lessons come. So you at a roundabout way, you're saying the same thing I was saying. It was the idea to get people to think that when you are a young phenom and then you don't, because when I grew up with a single parent, no one saw me growing up. So I wasn't exposed to the world as much. So I could make my mistakes in private. I learned the same lessons that Tyree learned. I learned the same lessons that LeBron James learned. I just learned them in secret. And so therefore, when I messed up, I was able to not be exposed to society when I messed up. But the thing about Tyrese is that he's exposed to the society. They can see him making mistakes. We can see him failing consistently. And then what makes it worse is he's now in his 40s, still making the same mistakes. So now this when accountability is actually really important. But every man has to go through the experience of learning to say no. And that comes with a process when you haven't been taught.
And that's why I use the word practice. And fellas, practice when nobody's looking. Again, just like sports, man. Like we all fellas, we all play sports. I play high school, college basketball,
We
man.
ain't all
And
fellas up
the
here.
most important, I'm sorry, our beautiful host,
But I did
and,
play
and
ball.
you as well. You did. I seen you putting up them shots too on IG. I'm gonna have to throw up some shots just to, but it's about what you do when nobody's looking, bro. Like you said, you made your mistakes in private. Again, everybody ain't like you. I tried to not make those mistakes in private because I know that that's really the depiction in public. That's how I get good at being a good man in public, is practicing being a good man in private when nobody's looking. That's when it really counts, John. Don't count when everybody looking because you're just putting on a show. And this is what I say about, these younger men and the mentality, and some of us older men that kind of drop the ball. And that's why these younger men are the way they are. But we was trying to worry about raising our own kids. We was trying to worry about what Mr. Butler said. Don't do what you got to do to survive. So we kind of couldn't juggle all of these balls at the same time. But fellas, you got to practice. You have to pause. Yeah, pause.
Oh
You
man,
you
I was
gotta
hoping you
practice.
didn't say pause.
Nah, you
I
you
was
you
like,
you you
pause.
gotta practice. You gotta practice on having value in yourself. Just like the ladies can pull their panties back up, you can pull your boxes back the fuck up. You can drop your boxes on the restroom table too. And if they don't follow you to the bathroom, again, it's this reciprocation in relationships. And if it's this equality that everybody talk about, where is it for us? I've never dropped my boxes on the table and my wife followed me to the bathroom. It's just, again, we understand the playing field we operating on. We know we gotta operate with the certain gray area, not too aggressive, but savvy enough to get her to take those panties off. So, it's me telling fellas to love themselves, recognize the quality that you have in yourself, fellas. And until we do that, we gonna get the same results, man. They call us bandits, and y'all see what they do. And it's because we as men don't exercise the same liberties that they have. And we have them even better because we got the magic stick. And if you making them come, fellas,
Well, all right. It has been
Yeah,
a
I ain't
great
shit, boy.
show.
What do you want me? I only have my soundboard activated today.
It was King. King, we're gonna blame it on you, King.
Alrighty. Did everybody react to the video? Because I'm going to get into some of these comments and then we'll do some final thoughts and we'll get out of here. So Easy Money Jones says, I was working 60 hours a week and I got a lot of pushback for not being a present parent and husband. I won't do that again. Lost Again says the woman should be worrying about how to make it work. Quincy says I should have become a rapper. Lost Again says I still homeschool. It's definitely a labor of love and worth every second. I do think it's a superior education. Mrs. She says, plus the girls feeling the need to go get surgery for those things. Damn shame. Corey says a woman of leisure will be cheated on and replaced for the younger, fresher model.
Damn.
92% of educated women file for divorce. So, Kai says Lapeef said something very wise. Be a silent millionaire. Have to give kudos to that mindset, everyone. But especially men should have that mindset. And that's it for the highlighted comments this evening. Guys, we're going to go to final thoughts. We will start with Mr. JR and then we'll work our way to the right, left. I don't know how y'all seen it, but we'll go over to um, John the Baptist and then we'll finish with King Smith.
All right. Final thoughts is make sure you guys develop a system that works for your household. I know it's easy for us to have these discussions and to be influenced by what you see, but when it all comes down to it, you got to evaluate what's going on within your reach and make it work, man. Make it work. Make sure you vet properly. If you need to get you some therapy because you were lost along your journey, make sure you vet your therapist as well. I know we discussed that. Make sure you start within your own household before you give somebody else some advice. If you're not practicing it, if you're not mastering it within your home, then who are you to tell somebody else what to do? So focus on home, focus on self, make sure those kids are right because I don't need no more bums out here trying to talk to my daughter. So
that's right.
make sure y'all take care of them and get them right.
Real talk.
All right, John the Baptist. Thank you, JR.
For richer or for poor, which when we talk about the wedding vows speaks about commitment. Commitment, not so much in love, but commitment to do the honor, respect of what everything marriage is for. The relationship should be about commitment. 28 years of marriage, 26-year-old son who just got married, a 21-year-old daughter who's courting, actually in the process of being courted, dating, start dating now. Raising the family, the kids, commitment, starting something and see it until the end. And so my final thought would be this, is that if we're going to deal with relationships, don't deal with how you feel or what you think. It's actually look at the logic of society, what relationships should be about, how marriages should move and how they should work. I think a lot of times people do stuff now just based on how they feel. And that's why divorces happen. Tyrese is going through a lot of stuff because of how he felt, how he processed information based on his emotions. I think as men, we cannot afford to move emotionally. We have to use logic. I think the reason why we have a lot of baby mamas and baby daddies culture is because we use a lot of emotion versus logic. We have to do what's best for society. Not saying that we all gonna be perfect. We all gonna make mistakes. We all gonna get it wrong. But the thing is that when you get it wrong, learn from your mistakes and try to do better the next time around.
Thank you. Mr. Hank?
Man, look, a black man, protect yourself at all times. Whether you need to get on somebody's couch or somebody's room, get your mental right. Man, go get your blood work done. Diabetes and heart disease is one of the biggest killers amongst black men, so make sure you take care of that business. And for men of mature age, like myself, Brother Payne, Brother JR, and Brother John Baptist, get your colonoscopy and your prostate checked. Colon cancer is a mother, man, and it could be cured and taken care of if you detect it early and get it addressed early as possible. Make sure you do that, fellas. One day I want to conquer the world. In order to do it, I need for other black men to be a part of it. So help me out. Help us conquer the world and take it over again. So that's my final thoughts of the night. Tomorrow I'm having a great show, a one-on-one with my son. Little Q&A with me and him at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So y'all come over, tap in, and y'all.
Put my notifications on right now.
I'll be there.
You guys drop Hank's channel in the drop everyone's channel in the chat if you don't mind, mods, please.
Y'all more than welcome to come over and ask some questions, as long as they don't get too outrageous or crazy. The questions can definitely be posted in the chat. I appreciate you guys, and thank you, Real Precious, for having me once again.
Anytime, Hank. Thank you so much. I appreciate your final thoughts because health is wealth. We're talking about richer for poor, and we talk about money, but your health is very valuable as well. So thank you for always reminding us of that. Our Payne.
Yeah, thanks for letting me up. Those are good words, Hank. I want all the men, everybody to know that every marriage is negotiations between you and your wife and husband, all of it anchored on your belief in the vows. I think it's very important to ferret out whether a woman believes in the vows the way you do, both of you, and understand what they mean. And if you need somebody to arbitrate that for you, get it. Because that's what's you're supposed to lean on. And that's why we're going through this series with you. They're not just words. And if you go through the Catholics, the Jews, the Episcopalians, the Baptists, all of them have the same variation of the vows. You know, and all of those, I would imagine the Muslims have something similar too. So, you know, you can't be taking those lightly, right? And then in the modern era, the things about how you run your household should be something that's negotiated with you and your wife, or a wife and a husband. And it's going to be different one marriage or one household to another. And the thing that will keep you, you know, what you share with other married couples is the fact that you're all going anchored by vows that you've taken, and y'all can help embellish that for each other. How do you mean it? You know, those kind of things. The other thing is, I had the one thing I think men need to recognize, that women view marriage differently than men do. You know, if you ask a woman what is she looking for in a marriage, and you put that up against what you're looking for, what's your most important thing you want from the spouse, I don't think they'll be the same thing. And I think you need to ferret out what she's looking at, what's the most important to her, and you need to make clear what's the most important to you. And for me, it's just simple: respect, and like I said before, respect, loyalty, exclusivity, and access, love, and the nurturing of my children. And it sounds like the children are fifth, but without those top four, you can't raise good children, right? So you need to have all these things in place. And so those are the things that's important to me. My wife will have some other things, and she can put them in her own order. But I think provisions and problem solving and protection, whatever that means these days, because we still have somewhat of a civilized society. So it's not necessarily going to fight people in the street. It's being able to be preemptive and keep your family safe by making sure you keep them out of harm's way, right? It's being able to put order into the chaos that women now normally have, and help them solve certain situations in life so they don't have the pressures. I think women look at those things a little bit differently than men do. And I think you should know that. Visions is higher on her list than a lot of men think about, you know. So anyway, other than that, you know, I just say I enjoy coming up here talking about these things. So, and it helps me kind of crystallize some of the things that and the choices that I've made throughout the years, because I'm getting a chance to actually talk about it with some people, you know. And I have to say this, and it might sound egotistical, but God has blessed me to make a lot of choices to get me to where I'm at now. Because I'm thinking that I'm here not because I'm some kind of genius or unicorn. It's just that at a lot of points, I made some good decisions. I did, you know, and the bad ones I made, they weren't bad enough that I couldn't come back and recover from, you know. And I think that's one of the kind of things I do. So I like talking about this stuff. It helps me crystallize certain things. And then I had some mistakes that I wish that I could have made. I should have had a whole slew of suitors for my daughters from men and families that I vetted before. I didn't do that. And I didn't think about that because that's not a Western culture thing. And I wish I would have when they were younger. But that's the one regret that I have. So they wouldn't have to go through this crap to find a good guy. Anyway, so let me land it there.
Well, thank you so much, Arpane. Your experience, your tenure in marriage, I believe truly helps others, the men on the panel, as well as those who are watching. So you're definitely welcome here anytime. I appreciate your perspectives and your experience. Thanks so much. And James, final thoughts, sir?
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for letting me on the panel. And it was a great conversation with the brothers, man. Appreciate y'all. It was a great, respectful, conversation, man. I love these type of conversations. But I think with us men, like for the men that's watching this show, we have to change our mindset on how we view relationships. We kind of gotta like stop letting all the negative things crowd our brains and let's make productive relationship goals and so we can have those productive relationships. Because we already know if you're already coming into a relationship thinking negative, you already know what outcome you're gonna get. So we already been doing that for all these years now. So it's just time for a change, and it's going to start with us. So I would say, spend time coaching your woman, right? So this is how you build that trust up. Hey, you say, hey, women don't trust us, whatever. Hey, let's spend time coaching them up because once they kind of get it, once they start seeing different results, then now y'all bond get stronger, right? So now some of that she can let some of that guard down, and then y'all can kind of penetrate it and have a healthy relationship. If she doesn't, then that's when you got to think about, all right, it's time for me to get up out of here, you know what I mean, type of situation, and then get that value to another woman that will respect it, right? So I think that's how we're gonna have to move in the future. The change is gonna have to start with us, and a lot of brothers are stepping up to the plate, and you know what I mean. Some of the brothers are all the brothers on the panels is a part of that goal that we're doing. So you know what I mean. Please support all the brothers on the panel, sisters too as well. Real precious, man. Man, I love these conversations. So thank y'all for letting me be here, speak my mind.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back.
I
All right,
trust
Mr. He said, I know y'all be doing a thing over there with the kids and stuff, so I respect that. But whenever you're available, you're always welcome. Mr. He said,
Thank you for having me, Presh. It's always a pleasure coming over here. Thank you, fellas, for building with me. You know, I always tell y'all that, you know, I didn't have a dad. I didn't have men that could articulate the way that you guys do. So whether we agree, disagree, you know, I respect you guys' opinion. I respect your experiences and perspectives, and I hold it near and dear as I move forward with my family. You know, I would say the 50-50, I don't believe in it. I don't see it. But I do believe in a mirror though. You know, be a mirror. You know, I say this all the time. Mrs. Harris can leave me tomorrow. The only thing I could do is try to be a good dude to say, you know what, she left a good dude. And I hope the dude she find next is better. And that's all I can do. You know what I mean? The responsibility is on me, and the onus is on me to be a good man. And I try to show that to her every day. You know, not anniversaries, not birthdays, Tuesday and Wednesday, every day, just the regular monotonous days. I'm letting this lady know I appreciate her. And like I said, she's not everybody else. So she gets that adoration, that admiration, and I'm unapologetic about it. So, you know, again, thank you for having me. Precious. I really love it over here. These conversations with these fellas is thought provoking, and it always moves forward. So I appreciate y'all, and big up to all the fellas.
thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, my wonderful co-host, the actual King Smith, sir, closes out.
All right, so Precious, you've had to have and to hold. You've had for better or for worse, and today was for richer or for poor. These are part of and I'm doing air quotes, standard wedding vows that are given. You gave an example and showed a video of a lady that couldn't do it. She, you know, she was like, wait, for richer or richer, right? And, you know, got out there and everybody, you know, it was a spectacle, folks laughed and things like that. It's difficult for me to see when I see so many people breaking promises on the daily, a path that changes the trend in the opposite direction to where people do hold their vows, they do keep their promises long term without, you know, breaking them. Now, let me raise my hand. In my marriage, prior, I failed. There were things that when I go back and look, I can clearly see that I did not do things right. I didn't honor some things that I should have honored on my side, and I understand that now. Looking forward, it's difficult for me to see a path that can have those vows work out as written. But to everybody that chooses to go that path, good luck.
All right. Well, I thank you guys for being here. I thank you all for your perspective. As I said, for James, definitely come back. JR, thank you for blessing us with your appearance the first time on a Real Precious. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're welcome back
Hey,
anytime.
I got one additional thing. Our Payne, step your beard game up, brother.
But thanks again, JR, for being here, as well as John the Baptist. You guys are welcome back at any time to have these conversations, because
Thank you,
next
family.
week, of course, next week we're talking about sickness and in health. Another huge one, another big one. So definitely come back and join us for that. I did pin my Patreon to the top of the chat. I am creating a hot community, honest, open, and transparent. If you have been following my YouTube channel, you guys know that is our motto over here. We like to keep it hot, honest, open, and transparent. I always close my shows with saying, be real with yourself so you can be real with others. And so the Patreon is going to be a community where it's a hot community. A lot of people need accountability partners. A lot of people need help with communicating and how to say certain things and how to get certain messages across and actually being real with themselves. And sometimes you can't do that with your family. Sometimes you can't do it with your friends who are right next to you, who are, enabling the behavior. So I'm creating a hot community for you guys to come over, join the community. And so we can have these conversations like we do on YouTube, but just a little bit more hot, a little bit more honest, open, and transparent. So everyone can elevate to the next level. Everyone can be real with themselves and able to pursue whatever they want to pursue and be able to face what's holding you back from that. So definitely check the Patreon out and join the community. But again, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna be back next Sunday, my birthday, y'all. So wish me happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Press.
Thank you. But again, I appreciate you. I welcome you guys back next week, Monday again, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be back with for sickness and in health. You guys be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.